Heyo, this is Jack Cartwheel. You are watching Simply Reliable Studios.
Thank you very much for that simple intro, Jack Crumble. With that being said, folks, we once again arrive at the stage that begun it all, this time from the Big Apple, as this weekend from Louis Armstrong Stadium, we bring you here at the Simply Reliable Studios our coverage. But tonight, this is Simply Predicting for AEW Double or Nothing. Let's go ahead and get right into the conversation. And welcome once again, everybody, to episode 172 of Simply Predicting. Hello, everybody, and welcome back here once again to Simply Predicting. You know what this is? For I am the Samantha, the Simple Brand, the voice of the for Grateful for All Things Professional Wrestling. Damn it. And my name is Noel Foster. So thank you all for tuning in, whether live or on demand. Please like, subscribe, comment, and tell a friend. And if you want to dictate the conversation, super chat, PayPal, patches as simple as that. Of course, you also can let your predictions be known on the chat, as of course my moderator here will be moderating the conversation. And the form is available live now on the X via my social medias. It'll also be available in the comment section once all these streams conclude. So without further ado, let's introduce tonight's panel and get right into tonight's soiree. First and foremost, I introduced him briefly. You saw him earlier if you've been here in the SR Studios 2024 feed and also on our YouTube channels, as we had an interview with the very gentleman you saw in the intro, Jack Cartwheel. Thank you again, sir, for the time. It is the hardworking man not named Walter Cruz, the CEO of Castlady Studios, the renegade of wrestling, JJ Williams. JJ, how are you this fine evening? And how are you feeling about this weekend's Double or Nothing?
Well, I'm kind of like you, sir. I'm tired.
Accurate.
You know, for whatever reason, old age, like you just get sleepier the more the day goes on. And especially when you're not active during the day. Like I was off today. I didn't have anything I had to do until the interview. So going 8-9 hours without any real motor running, you tend to kind of run on fumes all day. But other than that, I'm good. Fantastic interview with Jack Cartwheel. Just want to thank him again for giving us about an hour of his time. And I'm ready to talk some AEW. So let's do this. Let's get the ball rolling, baby, as Big G would say.
Shout out to the original baller, Big G, non-Aussie Wallaby. Follow him on the social medias, folks. Always appreciate you, brother. And again, congratulations on the recent graduation, and good luck on your further studies and career opportunities. Speaking of further opportunities to possibly annoy me and play a card non-existent in the Yu-Gi-Oh! Forum, as we, of course, want to encourage you to stay tuned for a pop culture powerbomb that is in the fix here, being built on the X and on YouTube. Subscribe and follow today. It is one half of the MVPs, the VIPs, those that contribute to the most against my freaking dignity. One half of the Dominguez, the leader, founder, pioneer, and games and movies. Emmanuel, how are you this evening? How are you feeling about Double or Nothing?
I was telling this to JJ, like I haven't been catching up with AEW. The only thing I've been noticing on the talk for the AEW talk is MJF versus Darby Allin. Like that's the one match everybody's talking about. So I'm intrigued about that match. Other than that, I did not know Willow got injured. So this is news to me. So I'm like, how long has she been injured? Like why is nobody talking about it? Like that's the stuff that you would think people will point out, like, hey, she's injured. How did she get injured? Stuff like that. Like more like talking about this pay-per-view. So it makes me wonder what's the card looks like and everything like that. And hopefully, like every AEW pay-per-view will deliver. So that's not the problem. I'm just wondering why has not much talk about the product as for right now. It's happening right now.
That's fair, and trust me, as the man that watches all things wrestling but only watches AEW Dynamite live, the only TV show I watch live. Well, actually, I take that back. Now that I moderate myself to avoid commercials as much as possible, watching buzzer game shows between the blocks of 7 p.m. to 10 p.m. each weekday night, and I watch AEW this morning. Thank you, DVR. I can understand what you mean, but that's also why I'm here, because, of course, I will bring you up for it on everything that's come. JJ, I did see your hand. What you got to say here real quick?
I was going to touch on the Willow thing because I didn't watch yesterday's Dynamite because of work, but I did see the clip floating around today.
Mm-hmm.
Apparently, Emmanuel, it is a shoulder injury suffered in her most recent title defense against Red Velvet.
Yes.
And it was announced last night during Dynamite Collision, so it's only been out there for like 24 hours.
Yes.
Okay.
You are
which
right.
is probably why it hasn't gotten too much traction as opposed to other things, you know.
And there's a lot to look, and there's a lot of other things to talk about. And of course, as Willow say, smile anyways. We also smile along with Willow as we wish her the best in her recovery. Much love to the former smiling face of TBS. As not only does that mean there's a wild card now available in the Owen Hart Foundation tournament, but eventually we will crown a brand new TBS champion. So there's a lot of opportunity now for the AEW women's roster. And we'll talk more about that in depth here later. But I think without further ado, as you know how I'm always excited for these pay-per-views, they are literally my benchmark for the level of passion that comes out of me to the highest degree as a professional wrestling fan monthly. So the Disney community, panelists, enthusiasts, all elite fans, casual, hardcore, sickos, if you want to call yourself that adjective, it's entirely up to you. I'm just a simple man and a lifelong fan. To Darren, to Ash, to Zach in the chat, by the way, and to all those that are also in the chat that might just be listening, but also let your names and voice be known. And the form has just been added to all YouTube feeds. You will also see as well. Let's get right into it. Again, folks, it is once again that time. We're at the stage that started all back in May 2019 when All Elite Wrestling arrived on our screens. This is Double or Nothing. AEW Double or Nothing will come to us exclusively this time for the first time ever in New York City from the Louis Armstrong Stadium. And of course, that means for the first time, it's not coming from Las Vegas. It's not even coming close to you from Mountain Time. Here's, of course, the way how you can watch it here in the States. HBO Max, Prime Video at select markets, MyAEW, the newest form that they are using now for international markets. And you see other outlets as well. It is currently available, again, for $40 if you're an HBO Max subscriber. And, of course, if you have your own outlet, please use the internet responsibly. And, of course, we here at the Cinema Studios will be covering the show live with probably a half hour, if not 15-minute pre-show. And you'll find out soon enough who might be involved with that. Of course, here in the Studio Predicting forums, we focus on the main cards for Predictions League. I do want to give a shout out, though, to the current AEW Women's World Tag Team Champions that are testing the entire world of women's wrestling with 5 minutes eliminator challenge. Good luck to the Real Deal, Zeta Steel, and the event who had incredible matches at Supercard of Honor and will team together for the first time ever against Luna Cross and Megan Bain. Can they outlast more than 2 minutes and 30 seconds? I think we're all going to say nope, but I do wish them the best with Christopher Daniels' help. But all hail Divine Dominion. May they continue their domination over the regime of All Elite Wrestling. This is my favorite women's tag team since the Inspiration. And with that being said, I want to give a shout out real quick to the non-viewers putting predictions so far, including limited to our Canadian friend, Ash Draco, Con Andrew, Brian Kitts, Dave Scheffler, Hito Paternoste, welcome to the league, Dwayne Atkinson, and others as well. So get those predictions in, folks. And by the way, they will be final come 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, not a minute later, Sunday evening. That is Sunday, May 24th, on this Memorial Day weekend. And as we, of course, pay respect to those that are serving here in the States as part of Memorial Day weekend, I'm sure that we will garner some respect for what we get out of All Elite Wrestling this Sunday, whether you've been continually watching or watching for the first time. So let's go ahead and start talking about this card. Of course, this is not just about championships. This is not just about revenge, redemption. There's truly not just about the name itself, Double or Nothing. There are some implications here that are all or nothing. But also, more importantly, it has become a tradition here at Double or Nothing in some capacity. It has involved the inclusion this year, the beginning of the Owen Hart Foundation Tournament for the 5th time ever. Who will follow in the steps of Adam Cole, baby, Dr. Baker, DMD, Brian Danielson, Willow Nightingale, who, again, we will guarantee now to not have a repeat champion because, again, get well soon. Heyman, Adam Page, the Glamour, Mariah May, Mercedes Monet, and absolute Ricky Saints, and of course, the American Dragon, Brian Danielson. Let's go ahead and dive into the Owens. For those that don't know, not only does the Owens start here at Double or Nothing, it will continue through the AEW season to Forbidden Door. And also here at the City Level Studios, as exclusively as Superman's brand, if nothing else, I will be covering all Owen Hart Foundation tournament matches live. So stay tuned for upcoming watch-along feeds on the Superman Spread Agenda and the SR Studios regarding that. And of course, that will also lead to further conversation with later matches and participants down the line, including what we now know is a wild card. Here, by the way, is your women's and men's foundation tournament brackets. We're only going to focus on the double or nothing stuff, but as you see, each tournament will involve 8 participants. Recognized names of AEW, other names for the women recognized across other stages of women's wrestling, including CMLL and Stardom. And we also have Continental Classic previous participants, Continental Classic matches being revisited. We also have first-time ever encounters, previous championship encounters, dream matches turned into nightmares, all across the board here in this year's Women and Men's Owen Hart Foundation's tournament. So we're going to kick things off with the ladies and talk about maybe something that might not be literally forever. It might be done all together. When it comes to the Fallen Goddess, she owns Ring of Honor. But can she own anything outside there and truly make this stage Athena Elite Wrestling? If we want Mia to succeed, we got to hope that something of an upset happens. Because for the second time ever, one-on-one, Mina Shirakawa goes one-on-one against the Fallen Goddess, Athena. You all recognize Athena, of course, from last year's Women's Owen Hart Foundation tournament. She lost to Mercedes Monet at Spring Breakthrough, but was able to make her way out of the quarterfinals. Mina Shirakawa and Athena do share a one-on-one match in Ring of Honor Forever history, as Athena was able to beat Mina Shirakawa last year at Death Before Dishonor. In a preview of the Women's Owen Hart Foundation tournament and the Fatal 4-Way that we will talk about that I'm extremely excited for, last night on AEW Dynamite Collision 3-hour special, Mina Shirakawa and the Brawling Birds and Thunder Rosa lost to Athena in the Triangle Madness after Julia Hart spit mist in Thunder Rosa's face, and Thekla got a cheap roll-up win. And we all know how much the Triangle Madness has made an enemy out of everybody in AEW and love to use the numbers game. But that's neither here nor there. The bottom line, though, Athena, who has now surpassed almost 1,400 days as Ring of Honor Women's World Champion, with only one loss this calendar year to one Shuri of Stardom for the IWGP Women's Championship, can Mina Shirakawa score the biggest win in her young AEW career and punch her ticket forward in the semifinals, where she might renew history with someone she knows very well from Japan, in Saray, the Sun God, or could Sky Blue be waiting for her on the other side? Or is this a foregone conclusion? As always, here it's the predicting based on the size of the panel and cards. Someone will start with a dissertation, then we will go around the horn and see if we agree or disagree. And the fact there's only 3 of us here, and the Owen Hart Foundation tournament is a huge part of the cause and effect to come out over nothing, everyone will share their piece. We will kick things off in this match with Emmanuel. Emmanuel, Athena, or Mina Shirakawa. Who you got punching their ticket in the semifinals of this year's Women's Owen Hart Foundation tournament?
I would have to go with Mina Shirakawa, though, because let's face facts. Like, I love Athena as a ROH Women's Champion, but she's been booked badly in the AEW being the upper level of the card. Like, she keeps, like, we keep expecting more out of her and expect to be AEW Women's Champion one day, but how long? It's too long. Like, they have to pull the trigger someday, hopefully, but it doesn't seem like that. Like, Tony Khan needs to make a decision. Is Athena more worthy to stay in ROH and let her stay in ROH? Don't bring her in AEW at any point in this discussion. If so, like if Athena wins, then let her stay. Let her drop the title. She doesn't need to beat Roman Reigns. Like, what's the point of her? It's true. It's going to happen.
1,259 days. Continue.
Acknowledge her.
Damn right I do. Continue.
Yeah. And I feel like if she's gonna break the record, like let her break the record, but let her stay in AEW television permanently. There's no reason for her to stay in ROH anymore. So it's kind of one of those things. Like, is Tony Khan really gonna make changes anytime soon? I don't think so. There's more popularity with Mina than Athena at this point as well. So, and Mina Shirakawa, AEW Women Champion, will bring more viewers, and let's see what she does with the title, in my opinion.
The bottom line, Emmanuel wants Mina, and I'm just gonna subtly say here, as I'm tied right now with Matt Rep at the top of the board, I do sense that we need to have some sort of unique circumstances, but it's also her first match. And like I said, she's previously been involved in this tournament, JJ, and she did get her way out of the opening blocks last year. Much to Emmanuel's point, though, she lost against homeless Tony Storm, literally at Forbidden Door. Let's forget. Can you believe, by the way, folks, that was literally 1 year ago. And might I add, the finals Owen Hart Women's Foundation and the men's Owens tournaments this year will take place at Forbidden Door, as last year the finals took place at Double or Nothing. The winner, by the way, of each of these tournaments will go on to the grandest stage, Wembley Stadium, the Cathedral Pro Wrestling, the challenge for the respective AEW men's or women's world championships. Keep that in mind. And that being said, speaking of ladies, I couldn't think of a better lady to join in the conversation with me, for she is yours, she's mine, she's our Canadian friend, Ash. Hello, Ash, and welcome to City Predicting. So glad you can make it. How are you this evening?
I am a bit sleepy.
Accurate. Literally, when the
light went on, tired.
When the light went on, I turned to autopilot. As soon as the light goes off, and no, I am not a robot, as far as you know. But that being said, it's good to have you. I couldn't even think of a better friend to have here on the forum for AEW, women's wrestling, Joshi talk as well, etc. But that being said, figure Emmanuel, we're going to go crisscross applesauce this time with this opening match. So that being said, from Emmanuel to JJ.
No.
What?
We just had a woman join the conversation.
I was gonna say,
let
relax.
the woman discuss the women's Owen match.
Okay, fine. We'll let the woman
give
her
gave
thoughts
her
before
that grand introduction about having anyone better to discuss women's wrestling and Joshi wrestling, and then you want to come to me with my adoration for Mina.
Let the men ladies first. All right, fine, JJ.
Ladies first.
That time I'll allow it, but next time don't overrule me. All right, Ash, go ahead and go next here, since JJ probably wants to feed off your mind. Then again, you're also not doing that great this year in the league. Ash, what you got to say regarding Mina Shirakawa and Athena? Mina Shirakawa, who's very familiar to tournament stages, as part of her time in Stardom in the 5-Star Grand Prix. Of course, never won that tournament. Former Rev Pro, former Wonder Stardom champion. And again, she's familiar with Athena, and with this newfound attitude where she's still trying to discover who took out her forever lover, Thomas Tony Storm. Maybe that could surprise us and push the victory. The last time these two shared ring, by the way, they had a 25-minute welter in Philly for the Ring of Honor Women's World Championship. Athena did still win, though. Do you expect this result to be more of the same?
Yeah, I have Athena going over. It's going to be a fine match. I got nothing else to say about it, because I'll say this. I'm going into this pay-per-view blind. I have not been watching any pro wrestling.
Your girl got priorities, folks.
2 weeks, my training starts.
I know, we're very proud of you. And again, the way of the simple man. DVR is your best friend. Prioritize your brands. Anyway, continue.
Oh, yeah, that was my thoughts. Athena's winning.
All right, there we go.
Simple to the point.
Simple as that. I mean, I'm not the only simple person in the Simple Apple Studios family anymore, it feels like. All right. Well,
actually, before I add up, did you mention I'm on top of the leaderboard?
Yes, actually. I was going to say that because, she is in a league of her own. But yes, right now, for anyone that's in the All Elite League, she's ruling over all of you.
Like Big and Bane says, bow down.
About to say, survive if you let her. Surpass her if you can.
Holla if you hear me.
All right, fair enough. Crazy little bat. All right, little young punk, thank you. That being said, from that fun jovialness to JJ, who I will say right now, based on trends last year, he's actually on par right now with what he did last year so far. And it's early. We're 3 shows in. There's plenty of left. So listen and respect the man's opinion. All right, JJ, now your turn. What you got to say regarding this, and how many different ways do we put Athena in the same loop as if we're watching Groundhog Day? Go follow his movie reviews, folks. Your turn. Who you got advancing the women's own heart out of this match?
Let me see the brackets again.
Okay.
Por favor. Yeah, that's
got
what
you.
I thought. So Athena's on the opposite side of the bracket from the wild card.
Correct.
If my theory holds true about who the wild card is, that means we could get a revisiting in the finals.
Maybe.
Athena beats Mina.
Aww.
I love me, Mina. Everybody knows how much I adore Mina, but I think her quest to find out who took out her timeless lover has got her too distracted.
That's a fair analysis.
And she hasn't, because think about it, she's lost. Granted, she was losing a lot anyways, but I think she's lost pretty much every match since she started on this quest. And her win-loss record was bad before, but she was still winning the occasional match. I don't think she's won a match since she began this quest.
Let's see here.
And while running through the gauntlet of the tournament could be a good way to try to wrap up this storyline as to who attacked her,
yeah,
I think she's going to get eliminated by Athena, and Athena's going to make it to the finals, giving everybody just that little bit of hope.
All right. I'll give you that. And to your point, Nina has, of course, her first and only one singles win AEW against the lethal Marina Shafir, but it did take a champagne bottle to the head, and it was no holds barred. She's lost to Thekla, compatible match, though, of course, had to use brass knuckles. First time Thekla had to go to those resorts, by the way, for the AEW Women's World Championship. And she also lost to Hikaru Shida in her return, and her and Harley Cameron lost to Hikaru Shida and Chris Statlander. And as I just said, they lost the women's 8-woman tag last night. She wasn't involved in the decision, but you actually would be correct. And you all know how much I love Nina. I want to see her succeed. I want to see her achieve her dream. But it's one of those things right now, just looking at her mindset and Athena's level of violence and the hunger that she has to actually not underestimate her opponents, nor overestimate herself, which I also think has bit her in the ass. Let's not forget the way she lost to Mercedes Moné last year was a roll-up. All it takes is 3 seconds. I think Athena's out here to prove a point more than Mina, who's been on this stage more, lest we forget. So I have to agree with the contingency here. I have to go with Athena, giving us the same result. I also don't think it's going to be 25 minutes either. I don't think they're going to fight that hard, but I do think it's going to be a strong fought match. I think Athena's definitely going to do it on her own. God bless you. Unlike what happened at Rio Honor. Damn it. Still pissed off about that. That's a whole different conversation another day. It's just one of those things right now that I think there's a different journey for Mina through the season where I still think she'll be involved at Wembley Stadium, but I don't think right now it's going to be for the AEW Women's World Championship. And with another championship open, maybe there's some opportunity for her, or Rina Manata, or some others. But yeah, I got Athena. Believe it or not, we're not the only ones that want me to succeed. It's 7-3 right now in favor of the Fallen Goddess. 70% picked Athena, while 30% did pick Mina Shirakawa. So, Mina, we wish you the best. Good luck on one out here. Athena, though, it's one of those things like Roman Reigns and Charlotte Flair. 9 out of 10 times. We're not in Las Vegas. You don't usually bet against them in a singles match.
Yeah.
Period.
Yeah. Those are the smart 30%, Noah. 30% of the people are smart enough to go with Mina.
30% of the people played their Emmanuel card.
Oh, God.
Which, as I told Noah when we came back last week from the Comic-Con, they had all kinds of Pokemon and Yu-Gi-Oh! Mouse pads, but there was no Emmanuel card mouse pad. So you're just not on that level yet, Emmanuel. Maybe next year. Emmanuel
trying to be the most wanted at your local Comic-Con or thrift store. But that being said, moving on from the women to the men. Thank you for that, JJ. And I wouldn't even buy that. And I'm frugal. And that probably would cost only $10. And I still would save my money. Probably just go bowling instead, which I'm actually probably going to do tomorrow night. But from the women to the men.
If we had a merch store still, we would make an Emmanuel card mouse pad to sell. Right next to the Red Crate of Hate t-shirt that we used to hawk.
Okay, let's not be lazy like WWE just for a freaking buck. Like, seriously, okay? But okay,
hey, you don't know. Someone may buy it. I mean, You need a mouse pad when you run a show called Interactive Games and Movies, and whoever runs that channel might need a new mouse pad. When you're at the hospital putting in, work on the computer, you may need a new mouse pad, and a manual mouse pad could be the hottest thing in the ward. You don't know, Noah. You don't know.
You say, you know what? I'm going to just pull an Andrade. How do you know?
And we're not talking about the psychiatric ward either.
Although you might end up there if you buy one of those and think that it's worth more than gold. But that being said, from someone that you want to believe that's most wanted, let's talk about the most wanted versus the most dangerous man in AEW. Look at the men's Owen Hart Foundation tournament, because for the first time ever in their respective careers, period, whose house, you tell me, I'm not even sure at this point, it's Swerve Strickland versus Bandito one-on-one in the Owens Hart tournament. Swerve Strickland, of course, who has been on an escapade for power and glory. Because if you have the power, you can force the glory. If you have the glory, that comes with power. He tried that, of course, at the expense of Kenny Omega in his pursuit for the AEW Men's World Championship, and he busted. Now we have for Strickland, who has targeted Bandito, who has been many people's Wrestler of the Year for the last year because of his run as Ring of Honor World Champion, including surviving Vanilla Ice Baby, Blake Christian, at Supercard of Honor on one good leg. Now, whether or not his shoulder is still intact or his back's going to hold up, it's a whole different conversation. But he did assault Swerve Strickland last night on Dynamite, or attempted to, before Swerve scattered away. Of course, we talked about, again, Swerve Strickland, former AEW Men's World Champion. Bandito, like I said, has now been the Ring of Honor World Champion for over a calendar year. But there is no prior history with these two besides the fact that Swerve hit a damn cop killer on a steel chair on Bandito's back as of last week, Friday. And by the way, let's also keep in mind, his brochato of Brodito is also in the tournament. You very well could get Brodito in your semifinals. I'm just saying. Nonetheless, that match will be later. We are talking about Swerve Strickland versus Bandito. And Swerve has graced the stage of Wembley Stand before. He also went into Forbidden Door as the AEW World Champion, was the main event, and he beat the Bruv in it, who might I add is on the other side of this bracket. So you might want to put that in consideration when it comes to who wins this year's Owen Hart Foundation tournament, and we'll talk about the Bruv here after this match. So, bottom line, whose house, whose match to win, whose tournament is it to take this year? Bandito or Swerve Strickland? Possibly. Let's go ahead and get your thoughts towards this quarterfinal, first time ever singles encounter of lethal proportions. We will start this time with fudge it. I'll go ahead and kick things off. I was kind of torn on this one for a couple of reasons because, again, Bandito has just been absolutely incredible. He previously challenged MJF earlier this year, let's forget, for the AEW World Championship. But right now, he is the current Ring of Honor World Champion. I said it back at Supercard of Honor when I was covering it. Think about it, everybody that tuned in, and all 500 of you yahoos. God bless you. You continue to make the passion persist and pursue. Y'all nice. It's not about me. It's about wrestling. It's one of those things, though, where if you're already a world champion for another coming underneath the TK regime, you don't need another world title. We don't need belt collectors in this day and age of wrestling, for freaking sake, unless your name is Lexus Falcon across the pond. That's a whole different conversation. I think that Swerve Strickland, especially after losing out to Kenny Omega, especially not being involved right now as the champion, he says he needed this last time when he beat Kenny Omega and became his most dangerous form, if not once again. I think Swerve Strickland is going to somehow, some way disarm this bandit and make sure the most wanted bounty is claimed, pushing his ticket forward in the Owen Hart Foundation tournament. I got Swerve Strickland by hook and or by crook, by Prince Nana coffee and vomit, or by literally disabling Bandito if needed, because we know how dangerous he is. I got Swerve Strickland going over here and moving forward in this year's tournament. And shout out to Moral 503, Bandito versus Takeshita. That match again last year was incredible. Mascara Dorada, Hechicero, surviving the first ever Survival of the Fittest for the World Championship, as Athena did for the first ever Women's Survival of the Fittest. Still pissed off about that, though, but congrats to both. Again, they're both world champions right now. They are literally leading Ring of Honor, and I don't see that changing anytime soon unless they're willing to change that on their own. And with Bandito with one arm, one leg, I don't give a damn if he has one eye. He still is the face of ROH, period, in defeat. I got Swerve Strickland going forward. Let's go ahead and see what y'all think here. We'll go ahead and go clockwise this time to JJ. JJ, I will also tell you right now, It's unanimous for the most dangerous man, 100%. You've been known sometimes, though, to throw your own Emmanuel card into this thing, but you also know when something seems clear as cut as day based on recognition or what you want to see in long-term storytelling. Bruv. So what you got to say regarding this match and who you got moving forward?
See, I think everybody pretty much just assumed from the jump when they saw these brackets that it was going to be Swerve Ospreay in the finals.
I'm kind of leaning towards that, I'm being honest with you.
Here's my question, though. The finals take place at Forbidden Door.
Correct.
What's so Forbidden Door about that match?
Nothing, but except in AEW recursive history of long-term storytelling, as I pointed out, 2 years ago, it was for Strickland and Will Ospreay for the AEW World Championship in their first ever one-on-one encounter, and Ospreay lost.
Okay, but 2 years ago, correct me if I'm wrong, Ospreay wasn't a contracted AEW superstar yet. That was a Forbidden Door match.
No, actually, he was. He came in Revolution that year. Yeah, he came in Revolution.
Only by a couple of months.
Mm-hmm.
Point being, both men are full-blown AEW contracted wrestlers at this point. There's nothing forbidden about this match. There's nothing forbidden really about anybody in this card, in this tournament. The closest thing you can get to a quote-unquote Forbidden Door match, in my opinion, would be if Bandito moves on to the finals, because, correct me if I'm wrong, he's double contracted.
Yes.
So because he technically also represents CMLL, that's about as forbidden as we get in this tournament. Otherwise, it's a match that can be seen on any other episode of AEW television. So I'm wondering if we don't get Bandito versus Brody in the semis, to your point a minute ago, and then Bandito versus Ospreay in the finals.
That would be unique. I do like that idea a lot.
Because again, looking at all the people in this match, it is the most Forbidden Door match we can get in this tournament, at least on the men's side.
Accurate.
The women's side has a few more options with Persephone, with Hazuki,
Sarai.
with Sarai. Thank you.
I got you.
And we don't know who the wild card is.
No.
Again, I have my speculations.
You're welcome to that.
But you almost would need one of those three to move to the finals for it to be any type of real Forbidden Door match. There's more options there, though, than there is with the men. So call it a long shot, call it a dark horse, call it me playing my Emmanuel card early. I got the most wanted Bandito.
Wow, I love that. I love the fact that we're being bold here in the Owen. Okay.
Because again, if the finals were going to happen anywhere other than Forbidden Door, I'd probably go Swerve. But the whole point of Forbidden Door is to have CMLL and Stardom and New Japan and AEW, and everybody is already an AEW contracted superstar. The only one here that's double contracted is Bandito.
See.
So let's put Bandito in the finals. That way you can bill it as CMLL versus AEW.
Strong shout. Mascara Dorada and Bandito had a banger down in CMLL and a follow-up in Collision, to your point. And we all know the pride that Bandito has, facing his idol Andrade El Idolo, of course, back at Revolution, losing effort. So I do see what you mean. But that being said, it's split at the top, and I respect that. And also, as I go to Ash, Neon Pro Wrestling, Bandito did face Will Ospreay in the Best Super Juniors back in 2019, when Will Ospreay was the ace of the Super Junior Heavyweights, and Ospreay won that night. So maybe Bandito is looking for a receipt to show that he is the one that surpasses what the Air Assassin has become. Talk more about that here shortly. That being said, Ash, what do you think about that? You break the tie right now. Again, does Swerve push his way by any means necessary because he needs this? Or do we have maybe upsets here in the quarterfinals that can actually happen? I mean, again, nothing is definitively 100% as cut as dry, but does Bandito have a bigger chance to beat Swerve Strickland versus Mina against Athena? And does that affect your predictions at all? Go ahead.
So I went in there thinking I had Swerve going over because my thought process is who down in ROH or in AEW does Bandito have ready for him? Like, does he have opponents set up for him to defend that ROH title? And my thought process is if Swerve wins over Bandito, but he doesn't make the finals, he can challenge Bandito for that ROH title.
It's fair.
Although I do like the idea of like a possibility of Brody King versus Bandito because that would be pretty cool. Like two former tag teams going at it because I love that shit.
I was saying, you hit your friend the hardest versus anybody else in this freaking business. Former AEW World Tag Team Champions. And to your point, they have never faced each other one-on-one.
Ooh, that would hit really hard though. But yeah, I have Swerve going over. I see him making finals and I to JJ's point about it being Forbidden Door, you can make that argument about last year's Forbidden Door where there wasn't really much New Japan versus AEW stuff on that show. So
it's just like showcase, you know. Nigel McGuinness versus Zack Sabre Jr. Bullzilla. Get well soon.
Match, please do not get me started.
Calm down, young bat, calm down.
Easy, Ash.
Bullzilla versus freaking Persephone versus Odds Windsor versus Mercedes Monet. That fatal four-way was incredible. And Bullzilla is a beast. Again, Bullzilla, get well soon. That's of course she's also recovering from injuries. And outside that, to your point, everything else was pretty much AEW except for Athena versus Tamasoy Storm. And Athena lost. And that was for the AEW Women's World Championship. Not only did she lose, she tapped out.
Which I just think we need to get rid of the Forbidden Door, but that's a whole other conversation for another time. Like,
exactly.
If we're not actually going to do Forbidden Door style matches, or if the people that fight in these other companies that they're partnered with can show up on any random collision, what's the point of doing Forbidden Door?
Marketing, JJ, marketing. Damn it. Anyway, continue, Ash.
Yeah, I have Swerve going over. I hate to be this person. I'm fine with either person winning, but I have Swerve making finals.
All right, a little bit of foreshadowing there with Daddy Bracket Breakdown. If you want more of that, stay tuned for Batty for Wrestling. Don't be a dickhead. Subscribe today. Thank you for that, Ash. All right, so we got 2 Swerves and 1 Bandito. Bang. That being said, a shout out to Mick Foley, by the way, who was Renee Paquette during the buy-in discussing AEW Double or Nothing. Mick Foley, welcome to All Elite Wrestling. You should bring quite a lot as a correspondent. I'm curious to get your takes on this company, and I definitely will be listening in. Maybe. Depends if I'm awake. Manuel, what do you guys say regarding this match? Do you have Bandito? Do you have Swerve Strickland here? Again, Bandito, he's had ups and downs in AEW, but he is a former AEW Tag Team Champion. Swerve, of course, though, is literally former AEW World Champion, and I feel like he's hell-bent one way or another to crash Wembley Stadium and turn that into his house by any means necessary. And right now, the Owen Hart Foundation tournament is the definitive way to make that a possibility. What do you think happens here?
I wish this tournament wasn't like a one-nighter, to be honest, and make this a pay-per-view.
I do
by
agree
itself.
Because
it feels like why are we having the first rounds and that's it? Like how does it add to this pay-per-view card? And I agree with JJ. There's not much Forbidden Door if there's no forbidden matches that you wish you want to see. Like the concept has run its course, just like Hell in a Cell, and now you just have a pay-per-view that exists, and you can't really, remove it or kill it per se, and move on. But this is a sneaky way for Swerve Strickland to get a title shot. Didn't he? Didn't he lose a match that forbid him not to challenge the AEW champion in the future any longer? Like,
No, Will Ospreay and Swerve Strickland defended that right, removing the Founding Fathers from power. Thank the Lord. Last year at AEW All in Texas. To your point, still been 1 year, but they have free range to go after the championships. And now both men have the opportunity through this tournament.
okay, just making sure that it was still.
I got you.
But yeah, Benito's a great wrestler. But it's like one of those things like Source Strickland should easily win this. Unless they're going for the shocker. That's true. Like, if AEW is going for the shocker and that Swerve lose clean, then I'll be intrigued where the next step is going with this own tournament. But unfortunately, like, you see the bracket is like, who are they feeling? Like, if it's gonna be Will Ospreay versus Source Strickland, then why are we having this bracket at all? Like, it doesn't make sense. So I wish we had it's a surprise win. I hope JJ's right and Bandito wins, but we're not gonna get that, sadly. And for me, it's like, what do we do here? Like, so for me, it's first stick, first sticking for the win.
So JJ is the odd one out. I like the fact that you're the odd one out in the women and you're the odd one out in a men match. We still have one more match for the Yoan. But you know what? Crazier things have happened, and AEW, much more than other companies, have shown us once in a blue moon, truly they can be most unpredictable after grander pay-per-views. Just saying. What do you got to say real quick, JJ?
To Emmanuel's point about why isn't this one night? This whole Memorial Tournament is created in Owen's memory because Owen was a King of the Ring.
Damn it.
Back in the days when the King of the Ring was a one-night tournament, get rid of Forbidden Door, replace it with the Owen Hart Memorial Tournament, let both tournaments be one night, bada bing, bada boom, problem solved.
Do it in a 3-hour span like you do the special Wednesday night Dynamite Collision.
Let it be a pay-per-view. Let it be a pay-per-view. Get rid of Forbidden Door since that's ran its course. Replace it with the Owen Hart Memorial Tournament pay-per-view.
Yeah.
AEW pay-per-views go 4, sometimes 4.5 hours anyway.
Yep.
2 tournaments in that time span is not impossible, especially considering the fact that AEW doesn't waste time in between matches, to your point and your love of them.
Damn it.
You just go through it. You have to put time limits on the matches. You can't let every match be a fucking 25, 30-minute banger. You've got to put some restrictions, but you can time it properly to where you can do, 7 matches per tournament? 14 matches? That's an AEW card anyways.
Hey, that used to be what AEW card was.
When you factor in the buy-in, and you can do some of the first round on the buy-in to try to get people to purchase the pay-per-view, you still end up with about a 14-match card. The main card here is 10 matches, and I think there's 3 buy-in matches.
Actually, they've been usually doing 2, and there's 9 matches, but nonetheless, I do understand your point.
Well, I know there's 3 for the buy-in.
There's 3?
Yeah, because there's the Divine Dominion.
Yeah.
There's a 10-man tag, which brings Boom and Doom together with the Hurt Syndicate. Or no, Boom and Doom and I forget who. Taking on Shane Taylor Promotions. It's the Conglomeration.
I thought you were going to say
Doom and the Conglomeration versus Shane Taylor Promotions. And then there's the Ops versus the Death Riders Trios tag.
Oh, okay. Well, all right, fair enough. But it is
so there's 3 matches right there on the pre-show, and then I think there's a 10-match main card.
9 now because of the one match move.
That's true because of the Willow situation. But there was 10 until the Willow announcement.
Yes, exactly.
So,
and I do see what you mean.
So 13 matches are initially announced, 12 now. 14 matches if they do both tournaments in one show. I'm just saying it's not out of the realm of possibility.
No, and I like that idea, honestly, especially when they could just go on a Canadian tour and do 2 different nights in Canada for that, or again, do it all in the vicinity. Winnipeg. It's not a bad idea at all. Do it from the stomping grounds. I like that idea.
If you're going to do it in Canada, then do it in Calgary because that was the hard home anyway. Yeah.
Yeah.
You looked at her and said Winnipeg, so that's why I'm saying
they
Calgary.
Could build it through is what I'm saying. If they choose not to go for the full one night, but maybe the semifinals and the finals, much like what they do sometimes with the G1 Climax. Stay tuned, folks. We'll be covering a little bit of that here at some of the studios, if not all of it, depending on schedules here. Nothing official yet. We know we're doing the opening day. But it's one of those things where I do think that does make the most sense, and that would be really cool. I haven't felt the Forbidden Door concept since the inaugural Forbidden Door, being honest with you. But I do love the fact that I am seeing other companies involved competing against or with AEW. It's a lot of fun. And at the end of the day, I don't let names affect me as long as the quality of the product entertains me. And pay-per-views in AEW don't disappoint. 9.5 out of 10 times, they don't miss. And everyone here in some of the studios has attested to that. Whether you bought it or you heard me call it. As I did see you on mute, what you guys say real quick before we move on to our last Owen Hart match?
I was about to say that would be really nice. And maybe that's one way to get Winnipeg to have a pay-per-view in quite some time, because the last one we had was, I don't know, In Your House 95.
Oh, there we go. There's the hometown visceral, because somewhere else in Canada has gotten more pay-per-views, but justifiably so.
Kenny Omega, you're a goddamn EVP. Use your EVP powers to get your pay-per-view here.
Whoa, okay.
Well, look. It's just like the clip that I put into our intro for our interviews with Nick.
That's
because Nick wants to brag about all he's got to do is go down the street to see the Stanley Cup. It's like, yeah, the cup lives there. When was the last time you earned it?
Didn't I mention that when we last covered a show from there? Was it like 1960 something? I thought
67.
Sure.
It was the year the Kings became a team.
Yeah.
Was the last time the Leafs won a cup.
I remembered I made that fact, and Stepway was proud of me for that, because I try and add a little bit of sports analysis now. What am I becoming? When I do these freaking shows now, which is a little bit ridiculous. But nonetheless, I do understand what's point. Nonetheless, you're odd one out. Swerve. Bandito, good luck. I want to call a shocker. I want to see that happen, especially the Owen Hart Foundation tournament. But if I'm being honest, I can see it more so happening in the women versus the men. Just my little honest opinion. And again, folks, stay tuned as we'll be covering all the matches of the Owen Hart Foundation tournament here at some of the studios, and not exclusively at the Superman's brand, as I will be doing that live. As, of course, we go through to Forbidden Door season where the finals will take place. Good luck to everybody. Speaking of which, talk about last year, me and Ash called the finals to number enough between him and Adam Page and the runner-up, bruv. This bruv is not looking at this time for an ascension. He is looking for what he believes is destiny, as he not only fights for himself, he fights for our country. Let's talk about what a dream could be a nightmare, as Will Ospreay goes one-on-one with Samoa Joe, someone that encouraged him to become a professional wrestler. Of course, Samoa Joe, leader of the Ops. Samoa Joe also was a runner-up in the inaugural Owen Hart Foundation tournament, if you remember, against the inevitable winner, Adam Cole, baby, also a former AEW World Champion. Will Ospreay, though, with a new leash on line, given a second chance against the very men he wanted to take revenge on, that has allowed him this second chance and may have turned him into a more dangerous weapon, as he's talked about. Will Ospreay has already gone through the Ops, including Katsuyori Shibata, just literally last night on Collision. Didn't make him tap out, though, with what he's now calling the float over armbar, cross arm breaker, now known as Death Ground. He did beat him with combination hidden blade after a one-arm deadlift power bomb, and then a Styles Clash for the victory. Not in that order. Nonetheless, when Will Ospreay was mentioned for this tournament, I think everybody had Will Ospreay, the bruv, as a first ballot candidate to take the whole thing. This whole idea of Will Ospreay, though, doing what he needs to do, even if he doesn't necessarily agree with the people that he's with and who he's doing it with, has paid dividends. As we saw Death Ground debut literally last week on Dynamite against Ace Austin, he got his first ever submissions victory. So, has Jon Moxley and the Death Riders train, sharpen Mabel Ospreay what he truly calls himself, an assassin, and will he assassinate a hit list of targets through his way through this tournament to make it to Wembley Stadium, this time to pursue the AEW Men's World Championship? Let's go around and see what people think. Again, as you and I called the finals last year, we saw how far Heyman and Ospreay were willing to go for the win, and Ospreay came this damn close.
Oh, yeah, that was
After
a
getting
crazy
Triple
match.
Fusion, right? One of my matches of the year that literally made me say professional wrestling, damn it. We've seen Will Ospreay's return since Double Fusion X surgery, where he was hell-bent on revenge, and he almost found himself back on the shelf again, thanks to Dunk Suler Mark Davis getting a WTF win, dropping him with the pile driver. Here, Jon Moxley, though, is literally giving Will Ospreay a chance to sharpen not just this, but this, because this is what will last you. We've even seen the Death Rider support Will Ospreay ahead of his entrance and also fend off assaults from the ops, including Marina Shafir giving Anthony Bowens a death stare last night on Collision when Bowens tried to get involved on Katsuyori Shiba's behalf. So again, Ospreay's got some heavy backup, bruv. And despite the fact we're also looking at New Japan and Kyle Newman, the IWGP heavyweight champion, who was defending against Judah Suji at Dominion. And what occasion could there be there with Will Ospreay being 1/3 of the 6-man heavyweight champions? Ospreay's juggling 2 worlds right now, but he wants to be the ace of AEW. This is the way to do it. We thought he was going to do it last year. It wasn't meant to be. This year, though, a second chance under so many different implications of that phrase. So that being said, Ash, Samoa Joe, he's the guy that's known to kill you. Well, Ospreay, though, can he actually tap out Samoa Joe, or will he find a way to survive him, pin him, or knock him out with a hidden blade? Is this a foregone conclusion, or could this be the upset here? Is he the weapon that he needs to be? Not for Jon Moxley, but for himself. What do you guys say regarding this match?
So,
and Will Ospreay's ascension, if applicable?
So Ospreay has been more grounded as of late?
Yes, he has.
Wow, okay. Wow. I never thought I'd see today. Goddamn.
Right?
What?
Ospreay, mat technician, the fuck? Continue.
I mean, I'm going to go that far, but I mean, he has a long way to go. And, you know, a match against Samoa Joe will put that to the test. Like, because Samoa Joe is one of the ultimate submission wrestlers out there, like with a good grapple and mat game. So if Ospreay can survive Samoa Joe and potentially tap him out, oh my God, we are in for a treat with Will Ospreay. Because I've been one of those people who have said Ospreay needs to, like, not entirely change his change his style. Jesus, my God.
It's all right. We're all tired. Don't worry.
Yeah.
I'm not going to botch you on that. That's legitimately fair. Continue.
Well, I mean, I used to change the channel when Will Ospreay was on, but that's a whole different story. But yeah, I've since warmed up. So.
Oh, good on you. See, time changes people. Continue.
Yeah. So I was one of those people who's like Ospreay, not so much change his style, but slow down a bit. Like, your high flying ability is what brought you to the game, because you can. It's okay. You can be both. You can do good mat work and high fly, right? Kurt Angle and Bryan Danielson.
Accurate. Continue.
So yeah, this would be a good way to see, like, for me anyway, to be introduced to Ospreay's mat work, and hopefully this could be a good. Yeah, this is going to be a good testing and proving ground for Ospreay, and I have Ospreay winning by submission. I don't know, but this is going to be a hell of a match.
To be fair, he's only done a cross arm breaker. You know the size of Samoa Joe's arms. He could take your damn head off with a lariat. I'm just saying. But if you can find a way to slip out the Kina clutch and pin the man for 3 seconds, I've seen more people do that aren't even technicians in Samoa Joe's career. This man can attest, considering how long he's followed this SoCal boy. It could happen. And again, first time ever one-on-one encounter. The last time these two shared the ring one other time was Grand Slam Mexico in that 12-man clusterfuck. And they were on the same team, but that was also against that vendetta against the Death Riders, which Samoa Joe pointed out as Will Ospreay is not a friend, he is an enemy, so he decided to work against him alongside Jon Moxley, the very man that tried to upset 1 year ago. Boy, how time and how an injury really changes a man's mindset. But nonetheless, you got the bruv.
Yeah, and also don't discredit the armbar, okay? Because
No, I'm not.
it's simple, but it's very effective.
Well, it also depends how you do it. Juji Katami, of
That's
course,
too, yeah.
cross-arm breaker. Tatsumi Fujinami, who, of course, mastered the art that we now, of course, call the Fujiwara armbar. And, of course, there's Dragon Screw Leg Whip, and I've seen takeovers with a knee hold. And it's amazing what a submission can do to even the most largest and muscular of opponents. Nobody is invulnerable to a submission hold if you know how to grab it. And with Taz on the call, you know he's going to break down the technique of Will Ospreay's death ground, the floating cross arm breaker. And again, that's what he used to beat Ace Austin literally 2 weeks ago. So it can happen. All right. With that being said, she's got Will Ospreay. Bruvs. All right. JJ, what do you think about this? Again, Samoa Joe, tested veteran. He's already been in the mountaintop how many times now in his illustrious career? He is the Samoan submission machine. There's a reason why submission is part of his damn namesake. Not just Ring of Honor, PWD, TNA, AEW, and WWE for that matter, for freaking sake, despite the fact they wasted him there. But nonetheless, it's one of those things now where Will Ospreay's getting the second chance to become what we've been waiting for him to be, the AEW World Champion. And that could very well play into cause and effect when we get to our main event. Because again, like I said, the winner of these tournaments go on to where they stand to challenge for the World Championships. It sounds like we're already foretelling, at least three of us here, the finals for the men. But you are holding out for a surprise final. But that being said, you were talking about one half of the bracket. Does that apply here on the other half? What do you guys say regarding Will Ospreay versus Samoa Joe? And I will tell you right now, it's unanimous for the bruv right now in the poll.
No, I definitely got Ospreay here because I still think the end game is Ospreay ascending to the throne at Wembley Stadium. And you don't get there without Ospreay winning the tournament. So Ospreay over Joe.
Ospreay. That being said, you know I'm going to go with Will Ospreay because I've been waiting for Will Ospreay to get to this stage of his career since he joined All Elite Wrestling back at Revolution a couple of years ago against Kenoto Takeshita in his debut, and the rest is history. But the fact of the matter now that he is fighting for so much more, where he says he's fighting for his country, where he said that this might literally be his last chance, I feel like here it is literally do or bust. Unless something dramatic happens, Japan implications, United Empire, bruv. I really think that this could be Will Ospreay's chance to ascend to be the ace of AEW. I just got Ash's mind twirling. So again, as far as this match goes, this is going to be a real testament to the conditioning and discipline the Death Riders have done to Ospreay's neck if Samoa Joe gets his clutches around it. But I think some way, somehow, I got Will Ospreay winning. Well, against Samoa Joe, though, more often than not, you survive. And I don't think Samoa Joe is going to go down easily into that quiet New York night. But yeah, I got Will Ospreay as well. All right, Emmanuel, for the first time, are we unanimous here? Do you agree with us? Do you got Will Ospreay, or are you going to pull another Emmanuel card on me and surprise me?
No, we're unanimous in this.
Okay.
In this prediction, so it's pretty obvious where this is leading. For like, also like kind of like in the main event as well. You know what's going to happen. Unfortunately, like if it's going to be MJF versus Ospreay.
How you know?
How do I know? Because that's how that's how like some of the bookings are like it's very rare you see face versus face for the title, but like you're saying probably 80-20% you would say for face versus heel versus the face versus the face for the championship, but nevertheless, like that's not what we're talking about.
No, let's not go off into the weeds.
Yeah.
So stuck in New York traffic in a taxi.
Yeah, as long as this match is not 17 seconds, like in the Ronda Rousey match with the armbar just like that.
I think we're safe there.
And Samoa Joe just
spoiler alert, folks.
And Samoa Joe just taps. That'd be an insult to Samoa Joe. But I hope it doesn't end like that. But because you guys were talking about the armbar, like what if like just to remember them TKO, like what if
okay, That's a stretch.
yeah.
I get the humor, but he's only applied this armbar once, actually, in ring competition. All right, so just relax. And secondly, you're going with Ospreay, though, right?
Yeah, like there's nothing much to that. Yeah.
All right, I'm going to be curious to see what happens when he applies the armbar the first time on Samoa Joe, and can he even do it? I mean, again, the master of the Fujiwara armbar, the Virtuosa, Diana Perazzo Lama, she fucking reigns still undefeated in pure rules matches.
As she should be. As she should.
Hey, I gotta say, I have stolen that now to use for our new NWA Women's World Champion.
Okay. You know what? I'll respect it. Just know that, with all due respect, if Tiffany Evans and Diana Perazzo meet in the ring under pure rules, Tiffany's going to lose an arm. Simple as that. All right, moving on. That being said, we're all united for the bruv. Will Ospreay's your first step. Good luck on the rest of the tournament. As you got to say real quick.
Is Dominion before Forbidden Door?
Oh, good question. I thought it was June 14th, I believe. It's June 14th. Dominion in Osaka Joe Hall is June 14th. And stay tuned, folks. We will be covering here, of course, at the Super Liable Studios. So the answer is yes, it is. Forbidden Door will be Sunday, June 28th.
Yeah, so you mentioned like the United Empire. Do you think it's possible that we get like some type of United Empire shenanigans and they end up costing Will Ospreay this match, thus setting up for Newman versus Will Ospreay at Forbidden Door if Newman does retain against Tsuji?
I think there's a lot of cause and effect across this tournament for Will Ospreay in general for the rest of his year this year. But I don't think nothing happens out of this match because right now Kyle Newman, he just needs to prepare for Yosuji. How do you prepare? He kicked the man in the jewels during a press conference. All we know is June 14th, it's Yota Tsuji versus Kyle Newman for the IWGP Heavyweight Championship. And if you follow New Japan like me, how many times during, let's call it what it is, Dominion season has a championship changed hands at the expenses of the likes of Kazuchika Okada against AJ Styles and Tetsuya Naito? I'm just saying.
Yeah, that's a good point. Because I was about to say, as much as like I'm happy Newman won the title, oh my god, I just can't wait for him to drop it because that guy's so goddamn boring. I'm sorry.
Damn.
I'm sorry. I feel nothing.
Nothing?
He has what I like to call the Hangman Adam Page problem.
Damn.
Because y'all know how he feels about Hangman.
It's your opinion.
He just does nothing for me.
Does nothing for
Nothing.
you. Nothing. He does
Nothing.
nothing.
I can relate with Ash. It's like me and Christina. And there's.
Oh no! Here we go. I saw the tone.
It did nothing. It did nothing for me.
Nope. We're not going down this tangent. When the man in the suit talks, you shut up. Calm down. That's it. All right. Moving on. That being said, the minutes before Forbidden Door, and I think there will be cause and effect implications on Will Ospreay and United Empire relationship regarding what goes down at Osaka Joe Hall. But as far as Louis Armstrong Stadium this Sunday, Will Ospreay is winning, I do believe, more certainly. Simple as that. Let's go ahead and move out of the Owen Hart Foundation tournament now into regular matches. Because believe it or not, this is a pay-per-view, and we do have regular matches. And since we're talking about Japanese strong style and Japanese wrestling, Ash, you ready to have some fun? Here's a moment that might get you an out-of-body experience. They're finally doing it again. There we go. That's what I want to hear. Happy bat. Let's go ahead and talk about Beach. Kazuchika Okada versus the Alpha. Konosuke Takeshita. Alpha versus Okada 2. This time for the AEW International Championship. Oh, baby. All right, straight up. Now, you all might think this literally stems off the fact that Continental Classic Okada won by dubious means. And again, it took a screwdriver to beat the Alpha. I also want to point out that Konosuke Takeshita became the inaugural member of the Don Callis family at Double or Nothing during the Anarchy Arena, screwing the Elite and Kenny Omega. The rest is history. He's also is a former AEW national champion. He's also a former IWGP World Heavyweight champion. Kazuchika Okada, Konosuke Takeshita have had this big brother, little brother conflict of I am the best, overall strongest Japanese pro wrestler, And we're not born by blood, and while we're family under the Don Callis regime, F that fum, he's been trying to make them play nice as a tag team, pigeonholing them to that standard. And much like Kenny Omega, Will Ospreay, Konosuke, it's finally streaking on his own. And it really escalated back at Dynasty when Konosuke and Okada lost to the Young Bucks after Konosuke left Okada high and dry and said, "I'm so sorry." As Okada's constantly been saying, "I am a champion, unlike Takeshita." So, bottom line, guys, I think there's more than just a title at stake here and pride. We've been saying it for the longest time. Is this family too big for itself? And is someone about to leave Father Don Callis? How more poetic than the inaugural member himself that is developing what even Don Callis says? You're starting to sound like Kenny Omega. So let's go around the horn and see what y'all think about this. Do we finally get a brand new AEW National Champion? Do we see somebody rejected from the family because you don't fuck the family? If you know, you know, folks. Again, I'm Italian. Or do we see Konosuke Takeshita finally surpass arguably the greatest wrestler out of this age of Japanese strong style professional wrestling in the modern era, Kazuchika Okada, who at one point says, "I want to challenge for the world championship, but due to personal circumstances," they're just going to call that for what it is. But again, Japan, and maybe he actually is more integral as a father to his family. I'd like to think so. He did not face Darby Allin during this one-of-a-kind incredible run of survival to death. So that's a whole different conversation. To be fair, he's never even challenged for the AEW World Championship yet. Let's go around the horn and see what you all think, as Konosuke did recently, and he also lost. And Don Callis has been trying to make sure that Konosuke and Okada play nice, while Okada says, "I want this match." Do we have a brand new international champion? And do we have someone leaving the family? Those are two questions you get to figure about with this match. Let's go around the horn and see what you all think. And since I know no one here has cut away AEW like me, but I know one person here knows New Japan Strong Style Pro Wrestling, Ash, you're on the bubble again to kick things off. What do you think about this rematch? Who wins?
Hold on, let me ask. This is a rematch. When did they wrestle before?
Continental Classic semifinals, of course, last year in December at World's End. Their only ever one-on-one encounter. And Okada beat Konosuke using Kyle Fletcher's screwdriver.
Oh my god.
That happened in December.
Oh my god. Did I watch that pay-per-view? I can't remember if I watched it.
I think you did watch it. In fact, I think me and Walter were the ones that were covering it, because Walter said this was the one match he was looking forward to on that whole card that night.
Shit, I don't remember watching that pay-per-view. I feel so bad. But,
it was 2025. It's all right, okay? I'm the guy here that...
Oh, no, wait, I did watch it. Oh my god, I forgot that match happened.
When you were once a wee bat and you had more time to watch all the pro wrestling, it's in the recesses of your mind. Continue.
Yeah, because I was surprised Moxley won the tournament. I was like, oh yeah.
So is everybody!
I'm sorry. I have a hard time remembering World's End because most of the time I only watch it because I'm bored and there's nothing else on to watch.
Well, it's also the last pay-per-view of the calendar year for
True,
wrestling.
yeah.
As we know it, not so you know.
Yeah. I have Okada winning because I see him drag this out. I don't know when. So we're going to wait a while before we crown Takeshita, but I do see Takeshita leaving the Don Callis family. When, that's another story.
All right, fair enough. So you have Okada retaining.
Yes.
Bold take. Well, this should be fun because according to the poll manual, Ash is in the minority. 80% believe the Alpha is going to win the AEW National Championship. 20% believe that Okada is going to retain. Beach. He has hold on to this title now for 314 days, and this will mark his 10th defense after surviving Ace Austin, Brian Keith, Myron Reed, Kevin Knight, AR Fox, Adam Priest, Bandito, and of course, as I said, for Strickland, and also he's already owns a victory over Konosuke Takeshita, but Konosuke has been the guy that we've seen with the most growth as a wrestler and as an individual. And without Kyle Fletcher, maybe being that balancing foil here in this conversation, Protokada, Protashita, while you still butcher it, it's one of those things also with Kyle Fletcher out injured. This also might go a completely different way because I almost wonder what Kyle Fletcher have a choice in the say on how the family trusts Konosuke or rejects him, almost like voting him off the island like Survivor. So, Emmanuel, what do you think about this match? Do you have a new international champion, or could this be Konosuke's last match as part of the Don Callis family?
I'm really surprised with that. That's no, like, I'm surprised that it was that lopsided for predictions. I was gonna say Okada's gonna win too. Like I'm not gonna lie. Literally was. I'm like, this seems like they gonna screw him. This gonna screw out the Kushida again. In my opinion, like they're gonna kick him out. Like that's that's what the storyline's going. Because if he wins the title, like you're just gonna bow down to him and accept that he's the champion now. Like there's more
being humble. Get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, exactly. It's not gonna happen. So, and him attacking after he getting defeated seems so weak. Like, it doesn't seem like a college thing to do, in my opinion. Like I haven't seen Okada in New Japan. Maybe he has done it before. I got no idea. But for me, he's not. For me, where I've seen, like, he's not that type of guy who attacks people from behind when he loses. So it'll make no sense. So it'll make more sense if Okada win, then they kick him out. That way, the Kushida has more reasons to come back and to win that title the third time they face off, and that way he gets his revenge, his relief that he's off the family, and he did it by himself. He overcame the odds. Yeah, third time's the charm for me. So he overcomes the odds and gets it the next time they face off.
I can understand that, and I was juggling with this too, but I look at it this way. Okada was the one that gave Konosuke this match. He's already beaten the man by dubious means, Don Callis type means, with a screwdriver. Konosuke right now is getting underneath Don Callis. As Don Callis said after Dynasty, don't worry about him. He's my problem now. And clearly, Konosuke, I think he still respects Don Callis for what he's done for his career, but it doesn't mean he owns him, as Don Callis right now has more oddities than the Adams family. But it's also one of those things like Kazuchika Okada, guys. He hasn't lost a singles match yet this year. The last time he lost a singles match was literally against Jon Moxley in the Continental Classic Finals. It's also one of those things where I look at Kazuchika Okada's pedigree of championship legacy. He's known for long runs, and it's very rare that you actually upset the Rainmaker when a title is involved. I do think about, though, when Kenny Omega, we saw what that took, Ash, at Dominion of all places, by the way. 2 out of 3 falls, no time limit, but it was literally their third encounter. It's also one of those things here that these two, for all we know, they could go to a draw. This match does have a 60-minute time limit, but I think that would be beyond nothing futs.
The 2 out of 3 falls match you were referencing, that's their 4th encounter.
Yeah, I know. But as far as New Japan likes to put it, it was like the last of their big 3, despite the fact G1 climax.
They consider it a quadrilogy. They count the G1 as part of that.
Oh, good. I was wanting to make sure.
Yeah, no, it's a quadrilogy or a tetralogy or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, the terminology, Ash. You're speaking to a guy that's all about words here. You know
yeah,
that,
sorry
right?
to be all actually on you because oh my god, I love that match. That's
I agree, but it's amazing how many people don't think about that match because it was in between the big ones. Just call it what it is.
Yeah, because, I love my favorite matches out of the whole trilogy was I love their 4th match. I haven't watched the 3rd one though because I wasn't watching the G1 Climax at the time.
Really?
Yeah, my first G1 was 2018.
Oh, okay. Well, you need to do some research, young bat. Okay, fair enough.
I mean, what else is new? Am I right?
Well, I mean, shoot, look at me. I watch more Card Sharks and Password Plus now than Wrestling Live. What does that tell you? That being said,
their own.
Exactly. And we respect each other for it.
Mm-hmm.
But my thing here is, again, without Kyle Fletcher, does that affect the result? Because would you think Kyle Fletcher would be involved in influencing on behalf of himself or on behalf of Don Callis? Because Kyle Fletcher has been instrumental in both those men's career. Protoshita started the freaking Don Callis family, let's forget. And Kazuchika Okada, when he came in, it was like Konosuke was kind of like, yeah, yesterday's news, Don Callis' new shiny toy, the Rainmaker, beach, as he was used to upset Kenny Omega and unify the titles for what that was worth. But I'm really torn here. This was the first match, by the way, that was booked for this pay-per-view. And it's still the match that I'm almost 50-50 on. But I'm thinking about the fact the next pay-per-view is Forbidden Door. If there is, rumor has it, a pay-per-view called Redemption. Imagine that being a fitting way for Nosa the Cash Guy to get everything he deserves back at the expense of Don Callis. Again, that's just hindsight, though, maybe long-term storytelling. But I also look at the fact that after this, where does Okada and where does Konosuke go from here? Okada has a challenge yet for the AEW World Championship. As far as we know, MJF and Don Callis still have a money agreement as Andrade is the money man. How you know? But Andrade, he also wants to challenge for the world title. He can't stand MJF. He doesn't agree with that. I think Don Callis has too many cooks in the fire going to the Master Chef here in a moment, where I think one is going to betray him, and the one that seems the most fitting to do that on their own merit seems like Konosuke. But does that come at the expense of the Rainmaker with the AEW International Championship, or do we still hold out for it? That's the thing. I don't know. But looking at, again, the idea of Okada asked for this, and right now Don Callis is upset with Konosuke. I can see Don Callis literally getting involved here, shugging Konosuke, and Okada surprises us and gets the upset. I actually do have Okada still retaining by a small margin. I don't think Okada believes he can cleanly beat Konosuke because, again, they had to use the screwdriver at freaking World's End. So I think they're going to protect Konosuke in that aspect, that he might be better and the better wrestler than the Rainmaker. By dubious means, with Don Callis involved, I'm going with Okada retaining. Bitch. But I sense that this is only going to continue to escalate from here. Maybe 2 out of 3 falls, or maybe lose at least a family. I don't know. But as far as this match for the title and Okada asking for it, I got to think Okada's going over with Don Callis' help. I see your hammer. What you got to say?
When was the last time we saw 2 out of 3 falls match in AEW?
I swear, I think there's only been one. I think it. Oh no, well, the women, of course, Chris Statler and Fekla Revolution. But as far as the men, I think there's only been one. I think it was Pop versus Kenny. Well, no, it was a 30-man Iron Man match. As far as 2 out of 3 falls, good question. Actually, I have to look that up.
Well,
it's extreme rarity. I will say that. I don't think that any men have had a 2 out of 3 falls. There's been Iron Man, 30-minute, 60-minute. The women had a 2 out of 3 falls for the first time ever back at Revolution when Thekla was able to best Chris Statlander with the help of the Triangle Man. Let's talk more about that here in a moment. Yeah, I don't think they actually have a 2 out of 3 falls match for the men yet, so that would be a first. Just some food for thought.
And who better than Takeshi and Okada, right?
Right, exactly. Each. All right. Well, that being said, thank you for that, Ash. And yeah, I'm going with Okada retaining by a narrow margin. This might be the one match that bites me in the ass on this card in predictions as I lead right now. And again, I'm defending champion of the league. Yeah. Good luck. The man we got to give it to JJ. What?
Yeah, Gemini, the AI says it was the FTR defeated Kyle O'Reilly and Roderick Strong. The last 2 out of 3 matches.
Oh yeah, that was a great match. Also, Bang Bang Game was another one, but as far as singles goes, I don't think there's been a single. No, wait, I just remembered. It was a Hologram versus the Beast Mortals at Wrestle Dream. That was the only ever 2 out of 3 falls match for the men singles wise. It took me a moment there, but thank you for that, Emmanuel. All right, well, that being said, as far as this match goes, I do have Okada retaining by dubious means. Hey, JJ, what do you got to say regarding this? The history, the story of the Don Callis family. Are we on the verge of seeing it collapse, starting with the Alpha? Is the Alpha going to break away on his own, finally again, away from Don Callis' dictatorship? Does he best the Rainmaker, or does Okada make him his beach? Once again, what do you guys say regarding the AEW National Championship and Okada versus Konosuke 2?
Well, I love how you had to come at me for my proto-shitta comments, you know.
Proto-shitta!
Proto-shitta.
Proto-shitta!
And with that being said, I think we will have a new champion in Konosuke Takeshita.
Wait, what?
I think Takeshita takes this.
Also, damn you for that freaking name thing. Really?
I had to mess with you. I had
I
to
know.
mess with you.
Someone
But
has to.
yeah, I do. I think if they're not going to pull the trigger now, I don't think people are going to care when they finally do. I think they're at the point where people just aren't going to care anymore. They're going to start looking at Takeshita the way they look at Athena.
Ooh.
And I don't think they want that.
I know I don't want that.
I think Takeshita is a bona fide star in the making.
Mm-hmm.
This is the pay-per-view that started it all for AEW. You pulled the trigger here.
It's also the pay-per-view where he joined the Don Callis family, as I pointed out a couple of years ago. So
if you wait for Forbidden Door, if you wait for Redemption, if you wait for All In Wembley,
oh Jesus,
I don't think people are going to care anymore.
That's a fair shout.
Takeshita needs to distance himself from the Don Callis family. Takes the belt and he runs.
Ah, damn it. No, I'm juggling. I hate that. I hate when I juggle a match. It's bit me in the ass more times than I can count. And that actually makes a lot of sense.
You've got until Sundays, 6:30 Eastern, 3:30 Pacific to make your decision.
I know. I'm going to wait for the countdown to give me some real inside grip of this Saturday night when it comes to the theatrical talent that they do so tremendously here for these big matches. And again, I also want to point out, he is still the NWA World Television Champion, and he is still triple contracted. And of course, right now we're at the Best of the Juniors. I gotta imagine he's gonna be involved in the G1 Climax, considering he's defending champion. So
I was just about to ask if he was still the TV champ.
Yes, he is. Yes, he is. Damn you, JJ. I hate sometimes when you're an influencer, but you bring up a very compelling argument.
Oh,
that's what I do. I'm a YouTube influencer. The Simply Reliable Studios account on X is media personality, okay?
This is accurate. All right. Well, thank you for that, JJ. That being said...
But yeah, new champ, Konosuke Takeshita.
Wow. So this one, I love the fact that each match has been a different, variable proportion as far as the all one out, unanimous, and this one just went 50-50. Okay, so we got two Konosuke's and two Okadas, but that just goes to show again how evenly matched these two are. It's going to come down to what is best for the family, according to Don Callis, and if it bites them in the ass. And we all know the family's got a busy night ahead of them when we get to our, let's call it what it is, anarchy later. Anyway, good stuff. All right, well, moving on from there with two men that might be evenly matched, does one have the other's number? Because has the luck run out for the Death Rider in my other favorite staple of AEW? Continental Championship matches that truly test one-on-one who is the wrestler that can surpass them all. And what to Ash's point about the Continental Classic last year, Jon Moxley showed us exactly what the Continental Classic means and continues to do so for the Continental title. But if there's one foil to him, it very well could be the Violent Artist, Kyle O'Reilly. Because look what they're running back. The man that tapped out Jon Moxley twice. It is Kyle O'Reilly, 1/3 of the AEW World Trios Champions, going after Jon Moxley for their third singles encounter. And it this time will be for the AEW Continental Championship. And to further add to that, showing how much Jon Moxley wants to make sure that time is not a factor, and I have finally found a way to beat you. This time, there is no time limit. The 20-minute time has been thrown out the damn window for the second time ever in Continental title history. The only other time this happens is when Jon Moxley threw the clock out against Konosuke Takeshita, and he was able to surpass the Alpha at Revolution. Much to what JJ was talking about earlier when it comes to Konosuke. When do you do it now? Kyle O'Reilly, do you finally do it now? Let's go ahead and bring people up to speed. Dattila, love you, appreciate you. He doesn't have a mouse pad. Follow her day, folks, Rangers of Wrestling. Okay, folks, straight up, Kyle O'Reilly, the last time he faced Jon Moxley, he forced the man to time out in a bloody, violent way. And he also ended up injured in the process. We haven't seen it for several months. And he also was going through a lot of mental stuff. Since coming back, and of course, Conglomeration now holding gold, he wants to hold singles gold again and close some doors of his past. Jon Moxley being one of them. He's already proven he can tap out the man not once, but twice. last night on AEW Dynamite in an eliminator match for the first time in eliminator history. Well, second time, because Konosuke also did the same thing. He trapped Jon Moxley in that knee bar for a whole minute, but Jon Moxley refused to tap out, but the time gave out, which led to Kyle O'Reilly earning this opportunity, saying that Jon Moxley, your luck has run out against me. I know I got your number. So again, like I said, on a Night Lords about double or nothing. Here we go again. Does Kyle O'Reilly finally get it done against Jon Moxley and win the Continental Championship in the process? His first singles title in AEW. Let's go around the horn and see what y'all think when it comes to the boogeyman, the ace, the guy that rides or dies. Whether you call him a vigilante, a villain, a hero, call whatever you will, he is still the holder of the Continental title. And he's proven it time and time again what this title means to him and what this title represents. Is Kyle O'Reilly Jon Moxley's undoing? Let's go around the horn and see what y'all think. JJ, what do you think about this? When it comes to Jon Moxley and his mentality of pro wrestling, where he drowns out the world, but he controls everything inside the ring, Kyle O'Reilly more so has had his number. We saw what happened at Full Gear. We saw what happened at Blood and Guts. And for those that watched Dynamite last night, they both went to the time limit. Shout out to that audience, by the way, that respects technical wrestling, as both these men mostly spent time on the mat before it got very physical, besides debilitating body shot that took Kyle O'Reilly out for a good moment. It's one of those things, though, that Jon Moxley continues to test his mental. Every day, it feels like. Being better than he was before. Being better to move on to tomorrow. That's always been Jon Moxley's MO. And he's proven it time and time again. And it's garnered respect with the audience for that sake. Again, how time changes us all. But does Kyle O'Reilly finally surpass Jon Moxley? Does Kyle O'Reilly have Jon Moxley's number? Can he make him tap out and seize the Continental title? Honestly, I feel like the last thing that Jon Moxley needs. And once Jon Moxley loses it, I'm very curious, as it's Death Riders versus the World, what's next for Jon Moxley to come from it? What comes from Jon Moxley in defeat versus consistently challenging himself to victory by violent means? What do you think, JJ? Do you think Kyle O'Reilly surprised us here and finally, maybe not taps out Jon Moxley, but beats him?
I am sick and tired of Jon Moxley holding a championship. I would rather see Roman Reigns on another 4-year run than Jon Moxley hold a championship.
Well, at least not a part-timer.
Doesn't matter. That has nothing to do with it. It's the entertainment value I get out of it.
Keyword you. Continue.
Yeah, it is. It is my opinion.
Well, continue.
I am just over Mox. For as long as I have been watching AEW, it feels like, and I know he hasn't been, but it feels like he has had a championship around his waist for the majority of the time that I have followed AEW. And I'm tired of it. It does nothing for the stigma of WWE guys coming there and getting championships when he's always holding a belt. You know? I need him out of the title picture completely for a good year. Any title. I don't want to see him holding the TNT title. I don't want to see him holding the international title, the continental title. I don't want him holding the world title, the tag title, the trios titles, the Ring of Honor television title. I don't want to see him holding any championship for at least a year. But I don't see Kyle O'Reilly winning this. And therein lies my dilemma.
All right, then.
Jon Moxley is hurting my desire to watch the weekly product. Because I'm just not invested in the Death Riders. I never have been. Aside from that initial promo he cut that we used in our intro forever, the whole "this is not your company anymore," I have not been invested in the Death Riders.
Okay. So you got Jon Moxley retaining.
Sadly, because I just don't see Kyle winning.
Yep, fair enough. I respect that take. And I will also say that right now, Jon Moxley has found his place in AEW to test the roster to, as Maria Shafir says, do better. And outside Maria Shafir, I do agree about your outlook on the Death Friars. But Jon Moxley, who's challenged himself with every person, every style, whether it's Nick Wayne, Hechicero, Ace Austin, Shelton Benjamin, who nearly went to the 20-minute time limit, by the way. El Clone, again, hologram get well soon. Rockhard, Juice Robinson, I think Kyle O'Reilly is just another metric. So after going through 9 eliminator matches and being the Continental Champion for 146 days, and this will be his 4th official defense of the Continental Championship, not to mention his 2nd one under no time limit, not to mention he's consistently defended now at each pay-per-view this calendar year, I do think the trend continues. I do agree with you. I think Kyle O'Reilly has come an incredible long way back to AEW from injury to once again find what makes him what he is, the Divine Artist. But also, he's currently in AEW World Trios Champions, and I'm over double champions in AEW, period. I don't care if you're double champion across partner companies. I'm kind of just over double champions. As far as Jon Moxley, if this is his comfort zone, let it be, as John Lennon once says. I have Jon Moxley retaining as well. And I think this time, he doesn't tap Kyle O'Reilly out. He makes him pass out. And that once and for all will show who has the strongest will. But I also got Jon Moxley retaining. Okay, so that being said, Ash, after surviving Will Ospreay, Kadoza Takeshita not once but twice, and of course beating Kazuchika Okada, as we've actually talked about verbatim since the Continental Classic Finals, and truly demonstrating what this title represents for him and what might be his lifeline in AEW when it comes to his own mentality and stake of pro wrestling, being perfectly honest, what he's for wrestling stands for. Not unanimous. There is one brave soul that did pick Kyle O'Reilly to win. 90% though did go with Jon Moxley. Are you part of the majority, and me and JJ? And what's your outlook of Jon Moxley as Continental Champion, if you wish to share your own valid opinion?
So for the international reign, I just because I haven't been paying too much attention, but to me, I've been a fan of Moxley's since he was part of the Shield. I love all 3 of them still. Roman to a little bit of a degree, because I'm just what JJ said, how he felt about how he feels about Jon Moxley. That's how I felt about Roman Reigns.
And this is how you feel about Cody.
And that's fair.
Yeah,
exactly.
And that's how Advocate feels about Yoda Tsuji, that bum.
Yes, even though Yoda Tsuji.
I can imagine how Advocate's going to feel if Yoda Tsuji regains, much like I talk about in previous Dominion history, if he regains the IWGP Heavyweight Championship. Just saying.
I mean, I would hope so, because goddamn, it was so goddamn boring.
I love how polarizing we are in our opinions about this person, don't care, lame, this person, lame, over it. Again, that's what it means to be a professional wrestling fan, be subjective, but also respect each other's opinions. Please continue.
So it's just with Moxley, it's I hate to say about his international title reign. There's some parts where I'm okay, I'm into this. Other parts I'm yeah, I don't really care for this, because it all depends on who his opponents are.
Mm-hmm.
And for this one, it's just, as much as I would love for Kyle O'Reilly to be champion, I don't see him dropping it. I don't see him winning. I see Moxley retaining. Now, here's another bigger question. But if Mox does retain, who's next for him? Because he's gone through the entire roster.
He's gone for a good portion of the roster, to be fair. I completely understand your thoughts there. Who's next? Willing sacrifice to step up and try and break his leg, which, again, the jury is out how well that leg is, or try and find some way to collapse him. Again, I want to point this out to your point, Ash. If he goes through what seems to be definitively what we think, Kyle O'Reilly, that'll be 14 wrestlers this year he has well, no, I take that back, 2 or twice. 12 wrestlers he's faced this year under continental implications that he's beaten. Different.
Shit. Wouldn't it be so funny?
In 4 months.
I'm just going to put this out there. Wouldn't it be hilarious if Orange ends up beating him for the title? I mean, it'd be a full circle moment. Think about it.
I mean, you're right. They juggled the international championship, and Orange Cassidy, the most definitive national champion.
Yeah.
If I was looking at Orange Cassidy's run as their national champion, versus John Moxley as Continental Champion. Orange Cassidy every day of the week because he did so damn much with that title, every dynamic way possible with anybody he faced across both runs.
Right? I like couldn't. When you think about it, Moxley's Continental title reign is kind of a lot similar to Orange's international reign. And Orange title reign ended at the hands of John Moxley. So wouldn't it be poetic justice if Orange beats Mox for the Continental title? I actually want that to happen now. Oh my god, I worked myself. Oh, what the
Congratulations,
fuck?
Zach. You worked yourself in a shoot.
Yep.
But that being said, though, you do have John Moxley retaining.
I do, yes. But oh my god. Wow. Oh my god.
Foresight. I love the Foresight. I just want to see him face Tomoshi again because that was one of my favorite matches from the G1 Climax that year. I just want to see Strong Style, my boy, just clock John Moxley in the jaw. But that's a different conversation.
Yeah, so again, Moxley retain. Whoever is next, when he drops it, that's who knows at this point? Because there are 3 things certain in life: death, taxes, John Moxley with the title.
Keyword: the title, not
or a title. A title, I should say, a title.
Yeah, let's call it what it is, and it's a singles championship more often than not, JJ. But yes, I do see your point. All right,
just like how over in New Japan, goddamn, TMDK cannot have a proper tag title.
All right, calm down.
I'm just being real here.
I mean, you're not wrong. Yeah, the best Super Juniors, though. I'm just saying, we'll see what happens with Kosei Fujita and of course Robbie Eagles. Robbie, who has yet to begin the finals. And again, you all can stay tuned for more at thatisbureau.com.
We're gonna paint the town orange
as you drink out of an orange cup. All right. 3 John Moxleys. Emmanuel is unanimous here. What's your thoughts on Kyrai's chances upsetting the Death Rider here? Is there a chance or is it the story remains the same? With the time out of play, John Moxley somehow survives.
Well, Noah, as you know, I'm infamous for a card. And I would like to play the Emmanuel card.
Yes! Damn it! Crap!
Yes.
Go ahead, speak. You got Kyle O'Reilly winning?
Yes, I have Kyle O'Reilly winning. And we have Adam Cole in the back, coming back, celebrating, hugging his brother, and finally winning his first singles title.
That's a stretch. Wow.
Yeah, I agree with JJ. Like, Moxley as champion is overdone. I don't like the Death Riders. We've been talking about the longest time how Moxley should have his time off. It's like to rest up his body and everything. We've been talking about how the Death Riders is gonna kick him out of his own group, and it has not happened yet.
It's not that type of group. I'll tell you right now, AEW is clearly showing us it's not that type of group. Continue.
Yeah. So it's like one of those things. Like something needs to change. Like for me, like something needs to change, and Mox like it's too many titles for him, and too long of him holding one. It doesn't matter which one; they always have to make him hold the title. Is it because he was the Shield member? Like, is that why he's being pushed that much? Like
I think it's just becoming status quo of AEW since day one. Let's forget he came in here, doubled up in 2019 at the end of that show with a paradigm shift for this business. And the rest is history. At the end of the day, every company has their ace. Hiroshi Tanahashi was New Japan. Roman Reigns is now the Fed. John Moxley has been, and I think always will be, AEW till its very end. And TNA's out theirs.
Yeah, and remember what I told you earlier with Mina? Like, I want a shocker. I want something unpredictable out of this pay-per-view, or
That's
not.
Fair.
Like if not, was this meaning of this pay-per-view? If we're not gonna have some shocking victories out of this, so hopefully I'm right with this, and I'm not the one person who voted already. No, so just to confirm, So whoever that so is, Marvel for you. I'm with you, my brother or sister, and whoever both that one.
Brother or sister?
I don't know. Like it could be a girl for all we know. Like
I mean,
don't
that's
know.
fair.
But,
There are women that are elite. Hello, Ash. So there you go. She's not the only woman in the league. Shout out to my friend Ashley Reynolds. Continue.
So for me, like
SCB.
it's time for a change. Like it's not out of the realm. Like if Willow could do it, I guess Kyle O'Reilly could do a double champion as well. Like the trios championship is basically what like it's not that important. Like even this the Continental Championship is like he's gonna get to the mid card. I don't know if he's worthy of a main championship, Kyle O'Reilly, but for me, when I saw first Kyle O'Reilly in NXT, I thought there was promise and upbuilt, and so far he's been just too injury prone, unfortunately, for him to even become at singles star. But this is a way it could go to have that singles opportunity, and it finally have a chance to prove why he is, a good wrestler, in my opinion.
That's fair. And again, I've seen multiple people hold the trios championships and some sort of singles championship, including the world championship. Hello, Samoa Joe. So it's not too far out of the realm of possibility. But trends, much as I am a statistical analysis, stay tuned for particularly breakdown with me and Papagino, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Monday night, folks. It's just one of those things, though, that I just think that trends tend to change. And I think Jon Moxley changes his fortune against Kyle O'Reilly this Sunday. So, again, I admire you, but also good luck, you fool. All right, so 3 Jon Moxleys, 1 Kyle O'Reilly. Okay, well, now we're in the top echelon of this card, so let's go ahead and move on from there. And again, we have all sorts of different things. But you know what New York's known for at the end of the day? Traffic jams and intersections. And
Pizza?
there's what?
Pizza?
That too. And
Ninja Turtles?
Dick Clark. Yeah, there's that as well. And also incredible fatal 4-way matches on pay-per-views. And this one takes the cake. Let's go ahead and talk about the AEW Women's World Championship fatal 4-way, where all 4 of these women have double or nothing implications, not only against maybe each other or the champion, but also at double or nothing history. I've not been this excited for a women's match in a long damn fucking time. The AEW Women's World Championship, fatal 4-way action. That toxic spider Thekla, leader of the Triangle of Madness, defending the gold against Hikaru Shida, Chris Statler, because that's where it's at, damn it! And forever I will be a hater, Jamie Hayter. All 3 of these women are former AEW Women's World Champions. Hikaru Shida won it on this stage, back at double or nothing against the Native Beast, Nyla Rose, back at double or nothing, 2020, had a year-long run before losing to Dynabreaker DMD in 2021 at double or nothing. Chris Statlander, who came back to the double or nothing stage, beat that bitch to win her first championship, the TBS Championship, and she also won her first AEW Women's World Championship in fatal 4-way action last year at AEW All Out at the expense of the champion, pinning Thomas Toy Storm. Jamie Hayter, who came into this event at double or nothing, but due to injury and a 3-on-1 assault by the Outcast, lost the AEW Women's World Championship and has been seeing that redemption ever since. So much so, she became part of the finals last year at the Owen Hart Foundation tournament, lost to Mercedes Moné. And of course, she is also, as I said, a former AEW Women's World Champion. Thekla, though, who came onto the scene and made this division toxic, and I fucking love it, she came in after double or nothing, the Wednesday after the pay-per-view, clocked Jamie Hayter with a forearm, and the rest is history. She also, of course, beat Chris Statlander to earn her first and only ever AEW Women's Championship in a strap match. So she knows to take advantage of stipulations. She already has pinfall wins over Chris Statlander and Jamie Hayter. Jamie Hayter under dubious means, but nonetheless, she still calls each of these women stupid bitches, despite the fact she's never faced Hikaru Shida. So, bottom line, folks, fatal 4-way action. You know how this goes. First pinfall submission inside the ring leads with the gold. There are no disqualifications. There are no countouts. We have a buffer. We have a fall person. And we have a continuity. The biggest continuities I will tell you here is Chris Statlander and Shida, since Shida came back with a heelish demeanor for relevancy. Kind of her and Chris Statlander have formed this tag team out of circumstance, on Shida's own word. And it's led to them winning, including against Misha Shirakawa and Harley Cameron. So far, they are undefeated as a tag team, except against the tag team champions. Where if Chris Statlander would have won, she would have become the first woman to Grand Slam, holding the TBS, the world, and the tag. And she blames Sheeta for that because Sheeta wanted to go into business for herself, tagging herself multiple occasions. I think Sheeta and Statlander are on the verge of a collapse since Statlander has been more of a stoic, silent, PO'd, just doing what I need to do. It's about me, damn it, mentality. And I like that fucking attitude out of her. But again, Jamie Hayter, we're going to Wembley Stadium. I also want y'all to keep this in mind. Cause and effect, the winner of this probably more likely will be the AEW Women's World Champion when we go into Wembley Stadium, which means any of these women could challenge any of these women for the go to the Cathedral of Pro Wrestling in London. It's also one of those things, though, that Thekla has used dubious means every chance she can, and she has the Sisters of Sin, Sky Blue and Julia Hart. In fact, The Miss has helped Thekla on numerous occasions in trios matches alongside her sisters in the Triangle. So again, all hell's about to break loose. We're going to hit hard, we're going to get toxic, and we're going to see some brawling and prize of women's come into play more than a candlestick. The bottom line for you guys, though, is do we get a brand new AEW Women's World Champion? And could that be the woman that defends the title at Wembley Stadium? Let's go around the horn and see what y'all think. And who is removed from the title picture altogether might be another thing you might want to consider. A lot of interwoven weaves here in this four-way intersection of the AEW Women's World Championship picture, and I fucking love it. Let's see what y'all think. Emmanuel, you haven't kicked a match off. Let's start with you. What do you think about the AEW Women's World Championship scene? Do you got a new champ at the helm? Does it remain toxic under Thekla, who, again, just a little bit under a year in her AEW career, has made this division her own, damn it? Or do you think that someone upsets her? Maybe somebody with failed four-way history of winning this match for titles. Christina, by the way, has the most history in failed four-ways, by the way, in case y'all are wondering. Did Jamie Hayter get her redemption back at the stage that she lost it at? Does Sheeta find her former glory? And does she use Chris Statler at the expense of it? Things to think about here. Is the champion even involved in the decision? Emmanuel, it's on you. What do you think about the AEW Women's World Championship? Who you got?
I'm gonna have to go with Thekla, to be honest. Only reason, right, for me, like, is that you have like two former AEW Women's Champions, or like was Sakura Chaya was woman AEW Women's Champion? No,
all of them are former AEW Women's World Champions. Chris Statlander was the most recent. She lost to Thekla, of course, in a strap match and a follow-up match 2 out of 3 falls at Revolution.
I just don't remember Cheetah's ring. That's why I like.
To be fair, it was in front of nobody. Sad to say.
Yeah. So yeah.
Dark Ages.
Oh. But yeah, like it's. I think this is a match just for Thekla to be showcased that she's able to defeat 3 former AEW Women's Champions and make her more credible. The bracket for the women's, I'm not sure who will she face. To be honest,
I know who I would want.
Yeah, me too. Like I think, like I said, like I hope Mina wins it, but like, that's a long stretch. Like that's the underdog pick, but that's a different story. But for me, it's like, hopefully, like it does happen that the underdog finally wins the title, and it'll be an interesting story to see. Like talking about future booking, like Tony Storm versus Mina for the AEW Women's Champion.
How dare you?
Just test them out and see where their friendship goes. Like from there, like do they hug it out like in a respectful way, or do they break up in more? Who knows?
I mean, it would be the third time going after each other for the title, man. Tony Storm already beat her twice.
I know. I just think that'd be a different dynamic if she was Mina was champion. But nevertheless.
Yeah, about to say.
But yeah, like this is just a way for Thekla to be showcased and to be a dominant champion, and let's see who wins the term, because I don't think she will hold it much longer until the Wembley pay-per-view, to be honest. But yeah.
All right, so you got the champion retaining. Okay. Well, it's not unanimous, but 90% do believe in that crazy, toxic Austrian badass, Thekla. 90% went with Thekla. 10% did go with the former champion, Ash, Chris Statlander. It's also one of those things that she has now been champion for 100 days, and this will mark her 6th defense. How's that? She's beaten Thunder Rosa, Mina Shirakawa, Chris Statlander, Jamie Hayter, and Alex Windsor, both of the Brawling Birds and the former champion. As I pointed out, she has no previous history, though, with Hikaru Shida, and the jury is out whether or not Hikaru Shida and Chris Statlander, I'm going to use the trope, can they coexist? And then there's Jamie Hayter, and ever since I've seen this Brit, get this style and this unique connection with one Alex Windsor, I'm really starting to love this tag team, by the way. I think there might be something different in store for them at Wembley Stadium. Just saying. But nonetheless, I do think both Jamie Hayter and Alex Windsor will be involved in Wembley Stadium because that's their turf, bros. But Ash, what do you think about this Fatal 4-Way and the AEW Women's World Championship scene? Do you have a new champion, or does Thekla really show that this division will remain toxic with the help of her Sisters of Sin, and does the Triangle Match continue to rule over AEW?
Yeah, I see Tekla retaining. I don't see her dropping that title anytime soon. Or maybe like the earliest I see her dropping it is at Forbidden Door, perhaps, but I don't know against who, though.
I agree with everything JJ picks. Good night. What a lazy trope. Thank you, Nick. You freaking goober. Go follow me at Nick Belief, folks. All right. And I'm also going to agree just because of this. Again, like I said, she's only been involved here for 1 year. With her at the helm of the Triangle Madness, it puts stock, I think, in the Sky Blue Julia Hart standing out on their own versus as associates. Like Julia Hart was just an associate with the House of Black. Now she's her own entity. And we've seen how effective that Black Mist has become. So much so, Persephone's been out injured. She will be cleared, by the way, folks, later. And that's why that match has also been postponed later for the Owen Hart Foundation tournament. Persephone owes Thekla a receipt, so that leaves the door open, pun intended, for that match to possibly happen at Wembley Stadium with the Gods of the Underground. Also a newer signing to AEW. I also think Thekla has really proven a point as we just approach 1 year in her AEW career, where she's earned this chance to showcase and maybe successfully defend by any means possible, because again, Fatal 4-Way, Triangle Madness can run roughshod. Again, I think there's something else in store for Jamie Hayter for Wembley, and I think it involves Alex Windsor, and I'll talk more about that later as the tournament unfolds, which just leaves Chris Statlander, Hikaru Shida. That's a story in itself, because again, they're both former AEW Women's World Champions. They both had a chance to become AEW Women's World Tag Team Champions. Shida wants to speak more on behalf of Chris Statlander. Chris Statlander is getting tired of her shit. We know what happens when you piss off Stats. I think we're on the verge of a unique singles rivalry, and I'm for it. I think all three women are already spoken for here. And this just adds stock to the title and Thekla as the champion. And again, if you're going to try and beat somebody that has your number, you have to use the numbers game to your advantage. It's Wrestling 101, folks, when you are that type of toxic influence. I got Thekla retaining as well. It just comes down to me, who's on the other end of the decision. I think it makes the most sense, considering there's no prior history, Hikaru Shida. And it wouldn't surprise me if it comes down to a tiff that Hikaru Shida and Chris Statlander have, with Shida throwing style of the ring, costing her the title, maybe inadvertently, and trying to apologize, and Shida probably getting speared into oblivion. Again, I got Thekla retaining. I think Thekla is definitely going to be the one to stand and deliver at Wembley Stadium, because again, not too far away from Austria if you know your geography map, and I think that she's earned it. I've definitely enjoyed her run, and it's definitely brought a whole new violent dichotomy to the women's division, and I fucking love it. And she's also more consistent than Athena on AEW Dynamite. Sorry, not sorry. Yeah. Thekla for the win. It is what it is. Facts are facts. All right, JJ. I think I pretty much told the story of the AEW women's division, but let's see if he can spin a different narrative, or are we actually all in agreement? What do you think of this situation here? Do you have Thekla retaining?
Yeah.
See? Simple as that. Again, he doesn't keep up with the product, folks. So again, it's a simple prediction if you're just tuning in right now. And no offense, it's just time, priorities, over passions. All right, well, that was easy. All right, good job, everybody. And again, to Jamie Hayter, just hit everybody hard, because again, I'm a hater for life, but I think the Brawling Buds have gold in their future together as a duo versus as individuals. If you know, you know. Emmanuel, I see you. I can't wait. You got to say real quick before we move on.
No, like a legit question. How is Hayter still get opportunity to this title?
Because Thekla called all three of these bitches out. Thekla literally put her foot in her mouth after already clocking Hater over the head with brass knuckles, and Hater beat her in a tag match, getting the better of the Triangle Match occasions. Not to mention clocking Sky Blue in another singles match. Boy, Sky Blue cannot get Jamie Hater's number. And Chris Statlander, again, she's been a thorn in the Triangle of Madness' side since the Triangle of Madness came into existence. And again, if it wasn't for the Triangle of Madness, Fekla probably wouldn't be champion right now, being perfectly honest, because of the implications of the strap match allowing them to get involved. The only reason Sheeta's here, she's a former AEW Women's World Champion, and Sheeta believes that her and Statlander are on the same page, quote unquote. I think we're going to get more tail to tail this Sunday when it comes to that tag team. Just saying.
Thank you. Thank you for that, because I'm about to say...
It's what I do. All right.
Yeah,
moving on from there.
Because I'm about to say because Hater and Statlander had multiple opportunities with Tekla. Like, it's like we're recycling the same kind of match again, but it's just a different type of match.
Basically, yeah. I mean, just look at what a Fatal 4-Way is. A Fatal 4-Way is interwoven match history. That's basically what a Fatal 4-Way is. The biggest story out of this is who implodes first between Sheeta and Statlander.
Emmanuel, who have they built up to be a worthy contender other than these women?
That, too.
Nobody. No.
Mercedes is gone. Tony's gone.
Yep.
Willow just left.
Yep.
They have nobody that's a worthy contender.
They gotta rely on the top echelon. It's much like WWE. You gotta rely on the top echelon. Sometimes that's the problem with this business.
Camille? Oh, wait, never mind.
As I was saying before I was interrupted, sometimes when you don't build anybody, you just gotta rely with the formula that works. And it's a first-time encounter. It's a first-time setup. So just have the women hit each other and all hell break loose and see what interwoven weaves freaking get broken apart first. Again, this match makes a lot of sense for different implications, different this or that or this, beat this person, beat this person, beat this person. Haven't faced this person yet. So I like the fact there are elements with everybody involved here. But at the end of the day, if the Triangle of Madness does not continue to prove why they run AEW, then Fekla, Sky Blue, and Julia Hart are dead in the water, where this is their best opportunity with those names out of the picture for those three particularly to step up to the same degree as Statlander, Sheeta, and Hater have in their career. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk. All right, that being said, move on. We got 3 matches left, and they're the big 3 in my opinion. So let's go ahead and get right into things, shall we? And I think we will start off with Stampede! Look at this clusterfuck! Jesus Christ almighty, it's the biggest Stampede match, Stampede in AEW history. Be drunk, be sober, shit's about to hit the fan. We have 14 men about to collide in and out of Louis Armstrong Stadium. It's the brainchild from the Ocho, the Wizard, the Learning Tree, the Inner Circle, the influencer, not named JJ, the inaugural AEW World Champion himself. Stadium Stampede returns at Double or Nothing. Oh boy. It is Jericho, and I'm just going to say this real quick. He's already gone out telling you that Jericho is an easier way to find him. It's easier to put on an album cover. It's an easier way to recognize him in and out of wrestling, folks. Just go along with it and deal with it. Jericho, the Hurt Syndicate, they hurt people, and the Elites, Kenny Omega, the Young Bucks, and Jungle Jack Perry, going after the Demand, Ricochet, bald, Torleona, Bishop Khan, the Dogs, Clark Connors and David Finlay, Andrade El Idolo, and Dogzilla, Mark Davis. It's a stampede at the forefront. It's Chris Jericho versus Ricochet, bald. And literally, shit's about to hit the fan. What else needs to be said? You see the people. You see the match name. I'm just waiting to hear what music's going to play. Now, more often than not, in these type of matches, while the last couple of years it's been anarchy, we've kind of juggled between what team has won due to either circumstances that are going on or someone else interfering. This is 14 men. We don't need no one else interfering in this. And at the end of the day, this is Jericho's brainchild. If you all want to talk about what the craziest fucking thing is going to happen inside Louis Armstrong Stadium, besides maybe someone getting a trumpet blasted over their head saying it's a freaking wonderful world in their own mind as they're looking at stars, go for it. But honestly, if Jericho doesn't win this, why the fuck did he return? Like, we were wondering why Jericho returned in the first place, being the cornerstone. Well, here's a cornerstone idea from Jericho himself. Seriously, come on now. This is just fun. And sometimes that's all you need with wrestling. You just need fun. Bald. So I think Jericho gets the better of Ricochet without using the Lion's Salt and something else in play. I think the Elite gets the better of the Don Callis family, sticking it to Don Callis. And I also think the Hurt Syndicate, well, it's business. They hurt people, seriously. And how many times the Hurt Syndicate had their freaking tiffs with Ricochet and the Demand? Just saying. The Dogs, by the way, recently lost against the Young Bucks and Jack Perry on Dynamite. That's why they're involved here as well, because they love violence. So now you know the tell of the tape here, folks. And the only reason the Elite's involved here is because Dunkzilla, Jungle Jack Perry, Jungle Jack Perry lost to Dunkzilla Mark Davis at Fair to Hell when he lost the AEW National Championship, thanks to Ricochet, getting involved and hitting Jack Perry with a golf club in the back of the head on Don Callis' behalf because they're golf buddies. To allow Dunkzilla to be a singles champion for the first time ever in his career. So Jack Perry decided to bring in the Elites. And the 2 years, the most here's between the Elite, the original Elite, the Inner Circle, you tell me. Hell, the Elite beat Chris Jericho in the original Stampede. But I guess all is forgiven. In a preview of this last night on Dynamite, there was the Young Bucks and Chris Jericho taking on Andrade El Idolo, Ricochet, and Mark Davis. And Ricochet, no, let me make sure I get this right. Yeah, it was Ricochet and Mark Davis by Don Callis interference, getting the better of the Young Bucks and Chris Jericho. Then the Hurt Syndicate came out. It was a brawl. Neither side looked stronger than the other. It's ground zero as far as going into this. For all I know, they're still fighting on their way to the stadium. So, bottom line, guys, you know how Stampede ends. Pinfall or submission inside the ring or team surrender. They've never surrendered. We've always had a pinfall or submission. So what side you got winning this clusterfuck? Let's go around the horn and have some fun and talk about this shit. Ash, I'll start with you. Because the only thing I could think of when it comes to something as baddie as this is a baddie opinion from you. What do you got to say about this? Do you got Jericho or Ricochet? Bold. Team winning.
I have Chris Jericho team winning. I got no thought process for it. I'm just like, who's won which team won this the most? And it's like, the Elite has a good track record of winning this, so I just went with them because reasons.
Sometimes that's all you need is a reason or a cold drink in your hand. I'm expecting who's on call with me to probably be somewhat drunk or drinking something alcoholic. And you know what? Whatever. This match allows it. All right.
This is going to be like a fun, crazy, chaotic match, and that's what it needs to be. Because these types of matches were just like...
It's a cool down to the seriousness.
Exactly, yeah. These Anarchy in the Arena Stadium Stampede matches, they're just fun. They're just like, turn your brain off, enjoy the shit, be along for the right type of stuff. Because that's all it needs to be.
Exactly.
Like, even though most of the times there's rarely any story implications, but at the same time, this is just a fun match. It's silliness. It's goofiness. I love that shit in wrestling. I don't care which team wins as long as I'm entertained.
Yeah, exactly. Now, what song gets played and how does the music get cut off is the other question in Louis Armstrong Stadium.
That's a good
We've had Judas. We've had the Young Bucks' EVP theme. We've had Final Countdown. We've had Let the Bodies Hit the Floor. We've had Wild Thing perform live. Mm-hmm. How do they trump this? Oh, Lord, I just put Trump and New York in the same sentence. I think I already set myself up. What? No. We had that at the freaking, what was it? Lights Out, Steel Cage match last year, Forbidden Door. We don't need that song again. Daggone it, JJ. All right. And, anyway. Question. Maybe the Hurt should get themed. They hurt people. Just have that play out. I mean, I wouldn't mind that just playing out. Why not? Because, someone's probably going to get hurt here, I'm going to guess.
Or Chris Jericho could debut a new theme.
I mean, you know what? That's not too far-fetched. I mean, again, the new album I cover, I guess, could be Jericho. Maybe he's got a new theme in mind. I don't know. What does the Cornerstone have in mind? And what's the most ridiculous weapon or ridiculous thing in Louis Armstrong Stadium that could be used to someone's advantage or punishment?
Saxophone, trumpet.
I said trumpet, so I guess I've already...
Louis Armstrong was known for the trumpet.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly. Well, again, my dad grew me up in the jazz, and I'm a Louis Armstrong fan, and I used to sing... So, it's one of those things.
A trumpet wrapped in barbed wire.
Oh, gosh. Thanks, JJ!
A pizza full of thumbtacks.
A pizza full of thumbtacks?
Why not, right? Can you imagine getting, hit in the face with that shit?
Open up a pizza and there's thumbtacks all over the pizza
Oh, jeez.
instead of pepperoni.
Okay, why don't we
What
just
kind of
go
order is
outside?
that?
Why don't we just go outside the building, call a taxi, and have somebody bump somebody as Luchasaurus drives it? I don't freaking know.
Hey,
Good
Nick
grief.
Gage is back wrestling. Maybe he can get involved.
Let's not bring that into play here. I don't think we need that. Oy vey.
Pizza cutter, anybody?
Jericho's still having nightmares from that, I'm pretty sure. I don't think the scars have fully healed from that carving. Just saying.
Speaking of, I
Chris Jericho,
purchased
not Matt Tremont.
yeah.
Yeah, accurate.
I bought myself a rotary cutter for some DIY projects, and it came in today.
Oh, well, there you go. I'm sure the dogs are going to have a shillelagh and maybe Wilson finally shows up in AEW. Wilson! Enough taxes, you can get a tire off one of those. I'm just having fun with this right now, all right? You know MVP is going to be involved as well. You know most likely that there's going to be other people outside this. I just said Luchasaurus. This is not going to just be 14 people. This is going to be a whole lot of other madness. Just buckle up and enjoy it. Or go grab a drink and just wait till it's over. I don't freaking know. It's better than a Super Bowl halftime show for a wrestling fan. All right, Emmanuel, let's go ahead and get your thoughts next. Do you have Team Jericho or Team Ricochet, Bald?
I mean, Team Jericho, obviously. The only reason why, because they had the most experience in this type of matches.
He created this match.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, there's no point in picking the people, Team Bald, aka Team Bald, to pick them. Like they have no experience. Like, they're going in blind. They don't know what to expect. At least the elite know what they expect in this type of match. They know how to work together. They know how to, time themselves, how to pace themselves. Even Jericho knows how to do that. Like, it's like I don't want to say their specialty, but it's starting to turn into their specialty match, unfortunately. And
it's like John Cena's I Quit.
Yeah, exactly. So it's one of those things like, I wish we had new people. That way, people have fun and make a name out of themselves. But unfortunately,
you got the Dogs and the Person to get involved in this for the first time, and Ricochet.
I get that, but that's against the opposing team. I'm talking about both teams, like both teams having new people. That way, they create those the memorable spots. Like,
hey, Bobby Lashley is the former ECW champion. All right, he can make this work. I'm just saying.
Yeah, he's hardcore. He's hardcore.
Well, he's definitely the Almighty. That's for damn sure. Freaking spiritual. He only have his boots on Wednesday Night Dynamite.
Yeah, but
all right.
That should be an extra point of the like. What song would they play in this match? That's a fun extra point.
All right,
I'll go
off the weights.
I'll say New York right now.
New York, Frank Sinatra. This is the one song that would not work with the absolute madness involved here, because I don't think New York's known for this type of riot, but I do see what you mean. Anyway, all right, that being said, he's got Team Jericho. So we got Team Jericho. I definitely got also Team Jericho. To your point, 2020, the first Damn Stampede, the Elite beat Jericho in the Inner Circle. The following year, the Inner Circle beat the Pinnacle. I believe 2022 was Inner Circle versus Blackpool Combat Club. And then the Elite won either the year after or the following year, because Blackpool Combat Club also won that year when Kazuchika Kachka joined the family. And, of course, those became Anarchies. And just last year, Anarchy in the Arena, it was Kenny Omega, Swerve, and other contingency against the Death Riders and the EVP Elite at the time. So it's definitely been mixed fortunes for Jericho and crew. And we'll see how Bobby Lashley and freaking Shelton Benjamin work on, obviously, Jericho's payroll. Or, same enemy, because, again, as I said, bald. So either way, it's going to be interesting. But, yeah, I think Jericho... And he also hasn't gotten a win yet or the better of Ricochet, bald. And his crew yet since coming back to AEW might as well be their first comeuppance. Plus, everyone wants to see Ricochet gets his ass kicked. Just saying. Bald. Jericho for the win. JJ, You want to do something short, brief, and simple here as far as your thoughts towards this, or make it funny? Go ahead. Do you agree with all of us in Team Jericho, or do you have Team Ricochet bald winning Sam Stampede?
No, I have Team Jericho / the Elite / the Hurt Syndicate / we're gonna fuck people up. I'm still racking my brain about what the song is gonna be.
Right? That's the number one thing I'm thinking about, I think.
Because
what do you put?
because like there's when I think of New York, the first song I think of, and I don't think it would fit this environment, but Frank Sinatra, New York, New York.
That's what Emmanuel was saying, and I agree. That's like the first song you associate with New York City.
But that wouldn't fit this environment.
No.
So then you start thinking, well, what could fit this environment?
New York State of Mind by Jay-Z.
That came to my mind. I was going to say, then you start going the more hip hop route. And I know how much you absolutely love rap music, you know, but you've got to think about something that's going to be energetic, up tempo, instantly recognizable.
Exactly.
And the first thing that came to my head was Biggie Hypnotize.
Oh,
because just that beat drop right from the beginning.
Freaking notorious.
Like, you hear that instrumental kick in and everybody knows exactly what it is.
And they're all going to drop in and sing along with that. That's for damn
sure. Uh-huh. It's up-tempo. It's energetic. And even people that aren't into hip-hop music remember 10 Things I Hate About You. And Julia Stiles dancing on the kitchen table to that song and then hitting her head on the lamp.
I still
freaking Heath Ledger catching her.
Oh my gosh.
Like,
it's amazing how much Notorious' songs were turned into music videos about an affair, whether you look at Busted or whether you look at freaking Contagion. All right, now we're going way off here.
The other thing that I think about is 3 Jewish boys.
The Beastie Boys. I was thinking of them too.
From New York. You gotta fight for your right to party.
Okay.
I could see that because, again, you hear that guitar and then him yelling, kick it, and everyone knows exactly what it is. And
I mean, I'm gonna
you gotta fight for your right. Like, perfect for this type of setting.
I'm not gonna lie. I was thinking about if there's a nightclub or like a weird bar thing, and they just run into a jukebox that Intergalactic just plays on a freaking jukebox. That'd be a good show too.
Sabotage could work as well because that's a fight as well.
Yeah,
absolutely. I wouldn't go Intergalactic only because I feel like that was the downside of the Beasties' career because they were kind of coming to an end at that point.
I'd be fitting if Ricochet put it on.
Whereas Fight for Your Right was like their first major hit.
Yeah, that was like their peak, wasn't it? I think.
Yeah, I wouldn't say it was their peak, but it was like their debut.
Yeah, the introduction.
Okay.
Their peak, I would maybe say, was like Sabotage.
Yeah, I think I'd rather hear Sabotage.
I think Sabotage would be another good one, but
I would like to hear Sabotage personally. That's just me.
I think Fight for Your Right might be the best way to go here.
I can't wait to hear what freaking songs played and what weapons are used and what shenanigans ensue. And stay tuned, folks, of course, this weekend for the Saturday Shenanigans. Myron's conversation.
Moderated by Noah Foster.
Once again. All right.
Hey, blame my job, dude. They're scheduling me like every Saturday.
It's all good. I got you, bro. I'm fine with it. I make it fun. I bring trivia, and maybe I'll bring a game show to it. I once gave Ash an idiot test, and she figured it out. So there you go.
Okay. I did well the first time, so.
I'll get another one for you. What do you got to say, Manuel?
I'm about to say, JJ, I thought for a second there you're going to say, like the Vanilla Ice Go Ninja.
No. No. Look.
No, Manuel, that's a bad Emmanuel.
Look, I won't even say I love, but I don't hate on Vanilla Ice the way a lot of people do. But even though the Ninja Turtles are New York, Ice was from Miami.
Thank you.
And Ice definitely doesn't have a positive stigma about him when it comes to hip hop music.
No shit.
You might get away with playing Ice Ice Baby because people now kind of fondly look back at that song for what it is. You might get away with the ninja rap to your suggestion, but pretty much anything else he did, people are going to look at you funny.
Yeah. All right. Well,
Ninja Turtles isn't a bad shout. But let's also not forget that there is a huge superhero team where pretty much all the heroes that assemble are based out of New York.
Yeah, you.
So no, not DC. DC is fictional places.
All right.
The Avengers.
I knew what it was referring to.
With a team like the Elite and the Hurt Syndicate and Jericho assembling to dismantle, like, I could see him doing something Avengers themed.
I wonder if they're all going to come out together. Are they all going to be like their own like group, like entrances of that, or Jericho like joins like either like group, or like, again, how do you bring out everybody as a whole different question as well. I mean, look at both sides. You got 3 entities on literally each side of the coin here, and the only standalone is Jericho. Everyone else is either faction leader or a faction. Jericho is the only one that stands on his own with, let's call it what it is, familiar rivals that have become allies against formidable foes that they all share a common goal against. So, again, this is just going to be fun, but I love the fact that we dived into this Shazam library of nostalgia, and we're just waiting to see what song is played outside of wrestling theme. What do you guys say, man, real quick before we get to our semi-main?
Yeah, one more thing. Like, I'm surprised that one wrestler has never had appeared in this type of wrestling match. This New Jack. Where's New Jack? Like, you were thinking he'd be a crazy mofo just randomly walking by. He's a New York guy.
Unfortunately, he's deceased.
Yeah, I'm about to say.
I just say.
But that song did enter my brain too, having Natural Born Killers play. But that would be good for a West Coast because it was Dr. Dre and Ice Cube.
Exactly. Thank you. Again, Emmanuel, geography. Geography matters here. Much like America versus Canada. That being said, we all pit Jericho against Team Ricochet. Bald. All right, so let's go ahead and talk about our semi-main. And that being said, from America to Canada, let's go ahead and talk about some Canadians, because you want to talk about double or nothing, this is all or nothing. Let's go ahead and see who takes advantage of this opportunity. It is the Rated R superstar, Adam Copeland, and his asshole, Christian Cage, once again challenging FTR for the AEW Tag Team Champions, but this time, it is an I Quit match. And if Cage and Cope lose, they must retire as a tag team. All right, guys, let's talk about this story that's been brewing. Well, if you look at Cope's history of FTR, much further than AEW All Out last year. Ever since AEW Out last year, when we first saw Cage and Cope versus FTR, and Cage and Cope was able to get the win, but the circumstances that followed, the expense of Bev Copeland with help from the matriarchy, Mama Wayne, Nick Wayne, and Kip Sabian. Adam Copeland's been unsure about what the future holds, but been hell-bent on revenge ever since coming back in Revolution that you saw live, you lucky son of a bitch. As, of course, we have seen now Christian Cage and Adam Copeland go after FTR under with occasions, including at Dynasty. And, of course, at Dynasty, with a bludgeon opposition affair, it was FTR that was able to prevail after isolating Christian Cage, not to mention assaulting his arm that is still, by the way, in that bandage, and that small little annoying gnat who still has Christian Cage's prized Rolex. Now we truly have thrown everything against the wall as Adam Cole has put everything on the line, and FTR says that we are so sick and tired of you. We cannot wait to be done with you and add your names to our legacies, to the likes of DIY, the Briscoes, Bishaman, you name a tag team, FTR has been them. FTR has been nothing but a tag team for the better part of 11 years, while Cage and Cope have only coexisted as brothers in this business for a duration as a tag team, but have also been on the better end as rivals. And of course, FTR constantly brings that up. And of course, we saw FTR with one last message at the expense of conglomeration, successfully defending their AEW Tag Team Championships against Orange Cassidy and Roderick Strong this past Wednesday on Collision. As, of course, Cajun Cope says, get ready to get fucked up. So bottom line, guys, this is Cajun Cope's last chance for one last run. The reason that I'm coming came to AEW in the first place, at one point was started with go fuck yourself, became go find yourself. Now they literally have to rely on themselves to get this done for the 8th time, I think, as World Tag Team Champions. So, does Christian Cage and Adam Copeland finally take advantage of this opportunity, hit the kill switch, and finally end FTR's run to become the new AEW Tag Team Champions, or does FTR truly end Cage and Cope as a legacy in tag team wrestling, as it's still top guys out, then now and forever? Let's go ahead and see if you find brand new AEW World Tag Team Champions. Remember, the only way to win this match is for someone to say, I quit. Ash, only makes sense that I start with you, considering Canadian legacy, eh? So, Ash, what do you think here? Again, with speculation that we're all talking about maybe Adam Copeland might be to the turn of his career, could this be the final coup for the Radar Superstar and Christian Cage as brothers in this business? Christian Cage doesn't look like he's laying up anytime soon with that angry little demeanor. Again, stop talking while I conduct my business. But I also feel with this being I quit, there could be a Glamazon coming back here for some revenge, and I would love to see that.
Possibly,
and of course,
yeah.
in I quit, anything goes. The last time we saw an I quit match, Adam Copeland made Christian Cage quit when he was looking to impale him with Spike, and he became the TNT champion. It also did involve him, though, being handcuffed to the ropes, so just saying. And we know that annoying Nat, Small Stoke, who can't get holes, will be in FTR's corner, so that is also going to play hugely as a factor. But do you have brand new AEW Tag Team Champions?
Yeah, I do. I see CNC Concerto Factory win.
Concerto Factory. Forget Concerto, like, don't do it if we quit. You think Concerto is going to be the death note to FTR here?
Possibly, yeah. I mean, I'd say this is the feud ending, like the feud ender, like having Cope and Christian become tag champs in AEW, and where they go from there, who knows? I mean, people have their speculations on how it's going to play out.
Right.
There's a possibility, but you never know. But yeah, the logical conclusion is Copeland and Christian becoming tag champions. Now, who they drop it to is a different story, but we'll get there when we get there.
Fair enough, and this will be their 8th defense, by the way, as this is their 3rd run as AEW Tag Team Champions now for 181 days, since beating Brodito last year for the titles at Full Gear, and outlasting now the Bang Bang Gang, Davis and Doyle, again, Doyle, get well soon, the Rascals, the Young Bucks, and of course, Cage and Cope, and the Conglomeration. I feel like FTR has literally ran the tag team gauntlet when it comes to challenges for the title and eliminaries, including Busta and the Brain. Right. So I do think that Adam Copeland and Christian Cage are due for one last run in the sun. I think it would be a lot of fun. And with speculation where Wrestle Dream might be, I think it's only fitting they walk in as the homecoming heroes versus the Maple Leafs. So, again, their team. Hey, at least they're dedicated to their team, despite the fact they always lose. Just saying.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, if FTR does retain, who's left for them? Because they've already gone through the roster.
Exactly. I mean, I feel like this is the end game if we're going to go in the MCU world here. It's got to be the end game. It's the trilogy. We talked about trilogies before. This is their 3rd tag encounter, and each one's only escalated from there. Much like the Briscoes that ended a double dog collar, we got a freaking I Quit match now for the titles, and a tag team legacy is on the line. I love how the fact there is so much implications at Double or Nothing, too, with some of these matches. It even makes them more worthwhile. All right. Well, that being said, you got Cage and Cope. All right. Let's go around now to Emmanuel here, and we'll end things off with Jed, and then we'll snake order the other way for our main event. Emmanuel, what do you think about this? I also will say right now, this match, as far as the poll, is unanimous. Everyone picked Cage and Cope to become the new AEW World Tag Team Champions. it's one of those things right now where I do think we need to look towards a new day, and I think a new day needs to start with new champions in certain ranks. I think the tag team division is a great way to start. Since FTR became tag champions, it's been a resurgence of the tag team division, I feel like, in AEW, with the opportunities that have been at hand and the teams that have been built or brought in. But as Ash said, they've kind of pretty much ran the gauntlet, or should I say the tower, Mortal Kombat style, of the tag team division. So I think it makes sense that Cage Cole finally get the win here. And I quit. You break a man's will versus break a wrestler in combat. Considering how much embarrassment and physical and mental toll FTR have tried to use against Cage and Cole, including Roppongi Vice and Dunkow's family, this seems very poetic. So what do you think, Emmanuel?
No, I agree with that. I think Adam Copeland and Christian Cage is going to win this titles. The only worry I have, to be honest, for this match, it's a certain tweet that certain Adam Copeland, aka Edge, left off on his ex
Social media.
saying, yeah, he posted that he doesn't know how much longer he's going to be wrestling. His body's giving up on him.
Not surprised. Jeez.
And it's one of those, like, it's kind of like a coincidence that it's an I Quit match. And if this is his, his farewell, I'm not sure how 100% he is right now, because only he knows, and his wife knows.
Fair, and this is fair.
And it's kind of one of those things like, how serious was this stream? Is he caping us, making us believe that he doesn't have it anymore, and he ran out of gas? Basically, he's running in his reserves. Basically now, if it's true, then maybe this is his goodbye match. Maybe this is the last time we're gonna see Copeland as an active AEW wrestler. He like before his injury, he said he had a couple of years left until it was done, and that 1 year passed by, and he hasn't really wrestled one-on-one anymore. He's been a tag team guy now, so that's good. That's going to be an interesting thing to see in this match and in this pay-per-view match, and see what he has left. If it's not good, then it might be his farewell match, and people. That's a thing that you gotta remember for the or nothing, like the retirement of Adam Copeland. And I'm not sure about Christian Cage, if it's gonna continue or not. Maybe this is his for two. Like how much gas does he have left in his gas? Like because they're like, even though like it's like kayfabe, they're brothers. But
well, again, Adam Cole's been involved in the business for 33 years. Christian Cage has been involved for 30 years, to your point. And this will be Adam Copeland's third I Quit match. His first one was against Finn Balor, and he did quit on behalf of the Glamazon. But still, jury is out. And I Quit right now, Adam Copeland, he is 1-1. Again, the last I Quit was at the expense of Christian Cage for the TNT title.
Yeah, so for me, it's going to be interesting where this match goes, but that's my small percentage of doubt comes in. Like how much that is that tweet true? If it is, then we better start saying like this year is going to be a long journey for Adam Copeland, for those Adam Copeland fans. Like, is this his final year? Or are we going to say goodbye to him this year, because it's coming? Like, it's either this year or next year. Like, it's one of those two.
Well, I don't think it's come Sunday. So that being said, while you're going on maybe a retirement tangent, do you have Cage and Cope winning?
Yeah.
Okay. I would say you're going way off from New York all the way up to Canada with that sort of like outlook. All right. Well, that being said, Cage and Cope, unanimously Cage and Cope. Hi, JJ. JJ, what do you think? Cage and Cope or FTR? I Quit match. This will also be Christian Cage's second ever I Quit match. Again, there's only other one. Adam Coleman beat him. This is their first ever I Quit as a tag team. I can't remember the last time we had a tag team I Quit match in anywhere, let alone for let alone for tag team championships. So this is unique. And at this point, we talk about FTR facing every team. You might as well say they've now faced every stipulation as a tag team. So that being said, JJ, what do you think happens here? FTR ran their course, Cage and Cole rise to the occasion, or top guys out? Top guys this time being Cage and Cole once and for all. What you got?
Well, to address Emmanuel's point about Edge, I'm pretty sure, based off of the information that I've seen, that Adam Copeland's contract comes up in October. Wrestle Dream is in October. That'll probably be his final match. You know, who it's against, if they go in there as champions or not, that remains to be seen. Personally, I don't want them to do the Steen and Darby thing again.
I agree.
Where they win he wins his final match, and then the tag belts have to go up to another tournament. Considering we're already going to be going into the winter in the C2. Like, we don't need more than one tournament happening at the same time. Thank you very much.
Thankfully, they've never done that outside the Owen, which again, men and women, but I do see what you mean.
That's different.
Exactly.
It's one tournament, just a men's and a women's.
Yes.
You know, it would be different if it was a men's and a women's C2. But we don't have that.
I wouldn't mind seeing that, though, honestly.
I've got Cope and Christian, Cope and Cage, you know, ENC, whatever the fuck you want to call them.
Well, yes,
I've got new tag champs. You know, to Datilla's point, FTR versus a debuting Machine Guns or the New Day. Better question is, do either of them debut after the match?
Don't they have a 90-day thing?
I was going to say, if they have a 90-day no-compete clauses, soonest that could happen would be July.
Which would be speculation around the so-called pay-per-view that could happen that month.
The Guns do, New Day don't.
Okay, so the New Day theoretically could show up. If what Ash is saying is true, and I don't doubt you, but I don't know, so...
I don't know either.
If what Ash is saying is true, then we could get the New Day debuting after this.
Fair point.
But then, is it fair for the New Day to cut the line?
Hell no.
You know, if we get Cage and Cope as the champs, I'm sorry, but I don't want to see Cage and Cope versus the New Day right away.
Nah, not even as Eliminator. I'm just like,
I could see that out of the pay-per-view, but like, you know, maybe even at Wembley. But I don't want that to be like the first thing we get.
Agree.
There's too many other tag teams that I'd like to see ENC tackle. Whether it's the Young Bucks, whether it's Busta and the Brain, whether it's the Rascals, whether it's
Hurt Syndicate.
The Infantry, the Hurt Syndicate.
Keep going. OGK.
You know, there's so many teams without them going straight to the New Day or the Machine Guns.
Yes, there is. Glad to see that again, too. Been a long time since I could say this company actually had a tag team division where tag team wrestling was at the forefront in its beginning. Boy, did that fall off the rails for quite a while.
I still think this won't be the last time we see Cage and Cope versus FTR.
What?
I still think the grand final plan is going to be an all-in Wembley to basically do whatever they're going to call their version of TLC.
Still holding out for that.
I've been right so far. I said the Bucks weren't going to win in LA. They didn't win. I said Cage and Cope weren't going to win in Canada. They didn't win. I said we were going to get a rematch at Double or Nothing where they get the titles, to be determined. I said it was all going to culminate in a TLC style match at Wembley between the Bucks, FTR, and Cage and Cope.
We'll see if you're right.
where they will lose the titles because we don't need them to have a long run. We don't need them going into potentially Edge's final match as champions. Let Edge's final match be a singles match against somebody. Let him put over somebody. Doesn't need to put over Christian. He needs to put over some young kid. Whether it's a Darby, whether it's a Sammy Guevara, whether it's an MJF, he needs to make somebody.
All right. I get.
So let them lose the titles to the Bucks at Wembley in a TLC match. And yes, I just advocated for the Young Bucks to win the tag titles again. Clip it.
You heard it here, folks.
But it makes sense. It makes sense.
All right. Well, we'll see if your cents are worth the value of pounds across the pond.
Hey, you know what? First they have to win the titles on Sunday. If they do, I'm one step closer to my grand vision being fulfilled. And unlike Chester Bennington, I'm not about to break.
And also, your vision has to turn into a vapor, unlike what's going on in a different place right now on the condensation cycle. All right. Well, that being said, JD is also going with Kenji Cope. It is unanimous. I love his outlook. We'll see if it's right. Because, again, seeing is believing. As I don't scroll or follow notifications or believe or feed into social media.
No. Once you were a wee lad, I know you watched the Santa Claus. Seeing isn't believing. Believing is seeing.
I do recognize that line. I'll give you that. I recognize that. Amanda, what you got to say real quick before we go to our main event?
As long as we don't get the same FTR ending of them both quitting at the same time, I'm fine with it. I just don't want them simultaneously going, I quit.
That's fair.
Because we're seeing it too much.
I agree. It's been a trope towards the end, and then Small Stokes gotten involved on FTR's behalf. And again, I'm just waiting for that pitbull to be popped. Now, whether or not it's Concerto or the Glamazon takes him across the border and he's never seen again, I'll take either or. As long as they rip his arm off and get that watch off his wrist, too. Freaking wrist barely freaking fits that damn watch. Never mind. Not going to say that word.
I had to make sure it wasn't snowing in Winnipeg after JJ's comment, and we're good.
Okay, so, right. JJ.
Thanks, Sash.
Well, again.
Thanks, Sash.
And stay tuned.
Keeping it batty for you.
I'm about to say, always. And again, don't be a dickhead. Subscribe.
Hey, not only that, but before you popped in, I advocated for Mercedes Moné to be the wild card too.
Yes, he did.
That's a twofer on this stream.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, he did.
Wow.
And again, we'll see if he's right. Again, I will be covering the Owen Hart Foundation tournament in full, folks. Of course, it kicks off at Double or Nothing. Goes for the Forbidden Door, where the finals will take place. The winners of Forbidden Door will challenge for the respective world titles at Wembley Stadium All In. So stay tuned for more on that. But that being said, we've had a lot of fun, a lot of great conversation. We even talked about music. Who knew we could get into pop culture? Who could say? Again, that's what happens to our Sleepy Did anything but. We've had some unique manual cards played for some circumstances that he hopes to see happen. There was some unanimous. There was some polarization. There is possibility that the Bravo could be upsets. But that being said, let's go ahead and get right into our main event for the AEW World Championship. Darby Allin, the defending, surviving, crazy as fuck AEW World Champion, who's defending the title every damn week, sometimes twice in a single week, will defend the gold against everyone's favorite scumbag, Maxwell Jacob Freeman, MJF, and his most vain-glorious possession, his freaking hair. MJF and Darby Allin, who have defined AEW since Double or Nothing 2019, as I pointed out. While MJF was the first of the pillars to seize the gold, Darby Allin was the last, why he doesn't call himself a pillar, of the original four to finally claim the gold, as Sammy Guevara also never got it. And he also defended against Sammy Guevara, with defenses successful against Tommaso Ciampa, Brody King, Kevin Knight, Speedball Mike Bailey, Sammy Guevara, Konosuke Takeshita, and the Bastard Pac, and two of those matches being no countouts in less than 100 days. Darby Allin keeps going until the wheels fall off, and he feels that those wheels are definitely starting to lose their footing. We've even seen this man's body freaking give out. MJF, though, again, he had to put something up to either get a chance at this title. He may have never gotten it again. So what did Darby Allin freaking say that he had to put up? His own freaking hair. For those that don't know, this damn man has freaking implants from Turkey in his head. That is how this man right now has a full head of hair. I cannot believe someone would spend that much money just to freaking not use Bosley's Hair Club for Men. That being said, we are also looking towards, again, Wembley Stadium, who could go in as champion based on circumstances and storytelling. We've already seen one bruv beat this man when he made a title American versus international. Could history repeat for a greater prize and a greater circumstance, or could we get maybe a rematch of sorts where two men are on this road until the wheels fall off, where one man is on this road to redemption, second or last chance? Let's not forget, Darby Allin has a pinfall victory over Will Ospreay in the Continental Classic. And yes, I'm only talking about Will Ospreay because we almost see this maybe being cut and dry. Swerve Strickland, though, has also not faced MJF yet. Again, folks, cause and effect. Based on what happens in the Owen, that very well could be the outlook of the AEW World Championship. But also with that in mind, how much fucking more can Darby Allin survive? He survived Mount Everest. He survived a bus. He survived his own fight when he was 6 years old. And he survived, get this, 7 title defenses in less than 100 days. Unprecedented in this business for the World Championship. Taking on all comers under every violent circumstance possible, throwing his body into harm's way. I'm surprised this guy is still alive. But MJF has said, I am the one mountain you cannot climb or conquer. And to be fair, he's right. Because again, we saw how he won. MJF tried to play dirty. Darby Allin beat him to the low blow right in the tiny jewels. And Darby Allin made history and became the AEW World Champion, calling his shot after being Andrade El Idolo. And the rest is history. But MJF has also been a guy that says my last word will be legendary. And it was for the short haul of it. But 37 days, 7 defenses. What the fuck, Darby Allin? Going into his 8th defense. Let's go around the horn and see if you all think there's a brand new AEW World Champion, or do we see MJF go bald? I laugh at the concept, but I almost want to believe in it. Like, seriously. Because I've had the most fun in AEW in a long time watching Darby Allin defend this regularly on television weekly against anybody on the roster. This has been incredible, but again, like I said, trends, they are due to come to an end. It's as old as time itself or data. The body gives out, and the devil gets his due, so MJF says. And we're also on his doorstep. Not Long Island, but we're in New York. So again, he might have the home field advantage. And what is he willing to do to get this title back versus what Darby Allin's willing to survive to hold on to it? And also, again, for MJF, what's he willing to do to keep his hair? Especially for his wife, Alicia, too. Just saying. Let's go around the horn and talk about this man and see who you believe leads the AEW World Championship and what's to come from it. All right, JJ, you start things off. Here's your story for the longest running individuals in AEW history. Talk about a crazy legacy in their own right, even though Darby Allin doesn't give a fuck about that. A man that was once homeless. You almost wonder if Darby Allin, the only thing left for him right now is just wait for heaven, as MJF might send him to hell. What do you think happens here? Again, is it really that cut and dry? Was this just a little experiment? Has it run its course? Has Darby Allin finally let the wheels fall off? Does MJF get his Triple B back? Or do we see the unthinkable, what May might say, and does MJF not only lose, but go bald? A whole different dynamic for everyone's favorite scumbag and favorite movie star from Happy Gilmore, too. Who you got in the AEW World Championship? What's the future of this title and the future of both men? Go ahead.
Okay. This is where I'm probably going to sound like a toxic asshole, but it's just me being honest right here.
I respect your honesty, and if others
I know
don't,
you do.
at the end of the day, they can go after you on the X, but I'm not going to go after you because it's all subjective. So that being said, folks, buckle up and enjoy this prediction, and then Emmanuel and then Ash will finish things off. Shoot.
I feel like Darby has cheapened the AEW World title. Not in how much he's defending it, because I commend him for being a fighting champion, but the caliber of talent that he's defending it against. He's not defending it against top tier names. He's defending it against upper mid-carders at best. No disrespect, but Speedball Mike Bailey. these level of people. You know, I feel like Darby Allin was an experiment gone wrong. And the problem is the experiment was a year too late. That being said, the only reason I would see MJF losing, and I'm not picking him to lose yet. I'm not picking him. I'm just saying
I don't
the
depend. Like I said,
only way, the only way or reason I could see MJF losing is if he has a movie project coming up where he has to be bald. So let's work it into the story. I lose, I get my head shaved, I go film the movie, I come back with hair grown back, I recapture the belt. Revolution Dynasty next year.
wow, you got him going all the way down that far.
Well, we don't know how long he may have to go film a movie for.
Oh, that's fair.
I'm allotting for, a good 3 to 6 months to go film a movie. That's the only way I could see MJF losing, is if he's got a movie coming up where he needs to be bald. And again, if that's the case, work it into the story. If he doesn't have a movie, I don't see MJF losing. Whether you like the metrics or you don't like the metrics, ratings have dropped since Darby became champ. Oh, it's basketball playoffs, it's hockey playoffs. Great, that's every year. Why would you give somebody that doesn't boost interest a belt when you're going to lose people? That makes no sense. So I've got MJF winning.
Okay. So that being said, the ballot's been open to Maxwell Jacob Freeman regaining the AEW World Championship at the expense of Darby Allin in what's being called a experiment gone awry. And also, I want to point this out, Emmanuel. If he does this, he will become the first man to make history once again as a 3-time AEW World Champion, all before the age of 31, as he, I think, just approached 30 years old. Calls himself a generational talent, the best professional wrestler on the planet, survived a dog car match, lost. Survived an Iron Man match, survived Will Ospreay near 60 minutes, lost that, though, of course, at Wembley Stand with the American Championship. And during his last run, yeah, he was definitely giving the roster a fair shake. Of course, we've seen the rise of the Jet Kevin Knight. We also, of course, saw him remove him and Page permanently from the title picture via Texas Dev. He also defended the championship outside AEW at HOG, Independent Promotions. And again, like I said, he's got beef right now with one of the Elo, who still has his eyes on the title. Swerve Strickland hasn't faced him yet. And Will Ospreay, he might be looking for that win back. So again, there's a lot of different dynamics here to consider when it comes to who leaves Double or Nothing still holding the title. And considering MJF's last of the defense was against Kenny Omega at Dynasty, only to lose to Darby Allin in 2 minutes in a vainglorious, cheap way, it's just one of those things where maybe, again, this was a little bit of fun, but MJF is ready to take back control. And again, is it literally one and done here? Are we done with these two after this, and this rivalry? Is Darby Allin done in general going after the AEW World title? Let alone holding it again, because it's going to feel the same for him. He's already accomplished it. There's a great article about all this, and I think Sports Illustrated or something like that. Go read that if you want, folks. Emmanuel, what you got regarding the AEW World Championship match? Who you got winning? And before I give it to you, I will say this. It is not unanimous, but 70% are going with MJF regaining. 30% believe Darby Allin is retaining. Go ahead, Emmanuel.
As much as I agree with DJ, I agree with him. MJF is going to win. Fortunately, what was Mick Foley? Not the guy you give the ball to. That's what JJ has been saying for the longest time. There's going to be guys who who needs to hold that championship, that third and long, fourth and long, and you pass the ball to that certain person, and that's Darby Allen in this case. But who are you going to give the ball to in the end of the day? An MJF, and you go on a Will Ospreay, and so on and so forth. And this is a sneaky way to say he defended the title a lot because he opened that challenge and but I agree with JJ as well. Like, who did he defend the title against? Lower card tiers. I would have been more interesting and more intrigued if Darby would have defended the title against upper card people, at least in those weeks of pay per view before the pay per view. But we didn't get that, unfortunately. Darby, unfortunately, it's like one of those people who always say he doesn't really need the title. He doesn't want to be the main guy. They experimented and they're going to move on. The only other reason MJF might lose his hair if he's balding, just like Kurt Angle. He was like, that's the other explanation I could give you. Like, and they were ribbing on Adam Copeland, like, you gotta lose your hair because like, he has the longest hair, and Kurt Angle didn't at the time, and it makes sense why he lost his hair during that time because he was getting bald. Like, why hide it? John Cena with their hair extensions.
All right.
Embrace the bald. Anyways, it's relevant. No, it's relevant.
I'll give you that. I'll allow it.
But nevertheless, like Darby Allin did his purpose during this reign. That's why you saw so many championship opportunities, and that way you can't say he never defended the championship or like WWE has done, and that's basically what they've been doing. Like, hey, guess which champion is more defended than Roman Reigns, than Cody Rhodes right now? Darby Allin. So there's nothing much else to say. But MJF is going to win it and regain the title and lose it to Will Ospreay whenever that opportunity comes up along.
Fair enough. All right. Well, I guess before I give my closing remarks, Abs, let's go to you. Again, with MJF, we were talking about when he first won the title back and got his world back last year at World's End in that fatal four-way at the expense man that took it from him, Samoa Joe, back in Long Island, New York, like 3 years ago. It seemed like the sky was the limit with what he was going to do this time as AEW World Champion. And the evidence speaks for itself. Brody King, Bandito, freaking Kenny Omega. Everyone was coming after him. Andrade, Swerve Strickland, Kyle Fletcher. Can Kyle Fletcher get well soon? Bobby Lashley, let's forget, at one point says, when you get that title, it's not going to be business. It's going to be personal. No love lost there. And with Darby Allin, though, the key thing that I've noticed, every time he's defended the title, someone in some capacity has said, I'm going to challenge you next. Now, truth be told, he was already set for Double or Nothing, but there's not even been like a tease or an idea on who he could defend it against next. And looking at the roster based on what they're saying and looking at what everyone else is doing on this card alone, it does feel like that, okay, who do we throw here that could be believable to beat Darby Allin in general, but won't and also will not be hurt in defeat because it's a respectful opportunity or that's that legacy of history. And again, looking past Double or Nothing, we're focusing now on the road to Wembley, a very long road, as we have the Owen Tournament, Summer Blockbuster, Forbidden Door, and supposedly another pay-per-view even before that. So with all of that in mind, do you see this being, call what it is, the summer of MJF?
Yeah, I have MJF getting the title back because when I first heard that Darby Allin became champion, my initial thought was, whoa, this was abrupt and quite sudden.
Right?
I was pleasantly surprised by it. It's like, whoa, I got what I wanted. I just wasn't expecting it to be this soon.
Right.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I like that Darby is a fighting champion. He's like, it I've seen this argument a lot, and I made the argument that, yeah, the title doesn't always have to be defended weekly, but it's currently held on Darby, who's a fighting champion, who defends that title weekly, like he would as if he was TNT champion.
He lives in the moment.
Right? And also you can make that argument that Darby treating the, and I see this, I see the point as well, that Darby treating the TNT title, I mean the AEW title as the TNT title kind of devalues and diminishes the title, because like, you're the world champion, you're king shit. Why are you treating it like it's a mid card title? No disrespect for the mid card titles, because I do love me a good mid card title. So
And Kevin Nash's been a great fighting TNT champion. To your point, he even defended against him at one point.
yeah, so I see both sides of the Darby Allin AEW coin. I see both arguments. For me, it's just, when Darby became champion, my initial thought was, this is going to be a short test run. This is a proving ground to see how well Darby does as a champion. And if they're not getting the results that they want, MJF is getting that title back at Double or Nothing. That's my whole thought process on it. Now, another question is, will Darby ever become a champion again? Who knows? I'm
about to say, with Darby Allin, though, it's also one of those things, does he need to become champion again? Again, like I talked about, he's done everything. And I feel like for him, this was the last thing that he wanted to do. He wanted to achieve. He wanted to bring forward to AEW that has given him so much freedom in this life. And let's keep in mind, I want to put this out, by the way, this guy now wants to go into space. So that literally might be the last thing on what might literally be a vicarious bucket list that the entire AEW fan base and those that have followed Darby Allin or sees a personality themselves in Darby Allin to a degree of trying to carpe diem, seize the day that Darby Allin's been doing his whole life more than ever. I think for me, this is just a big coup for what Darby Allin has done as a thank you to AEW. Not AEW thanking him, but what Darby Allin wants to say thank you to AEW for, because I don't think Darby Allin needs to offer anything more. Until the wheels fall off, in my opinion, you're the world champion. It's just one of those things where I think that you've ran your course, you've had your fun, you've given opportunities, quite literally, but the human body does have its limits. And the fact that this guy has survived what he has survived in this run alone, might I add, is freaking a story. He's done an incredible thing that will not be matched ever, in my opinion. And again, he doesn't care about legacy, but I think it's more than enough for his coup as AEW World Champion. I think MJF gets it back as well. We talked about MJF, like I said, since World's End. I think it's already set what is next for MJF. I just don't know whether or not history repeats or we get an upset. And if the one or the other happens, how will the self-proclaimed IWC react to it at Wembley Stadium? Blah, blah, blah. Wah, wah, wah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's just one of those things, though, that looking at the legacy, history, and what I think is going to be the booking, I see MJF as the forefront of the marquee as the AEW World Champion holding the Triple B. I got MJF as well.
Yeah, to your point, Noah, not every wrestler needs to be the main title, like has to win the main title, because
exactly
some people do well as just mid-carders, and there's nothing wrong with that. Like, some of my favorite wrestlers never won the big ones. That doesn't stop me from liking them.
Same.
And real quick, before you throw to Emmanuel's point from a moment ago, some wrestlers aren't meant to be long-term champions.
That
exactly.
Too, yeah.
They're meant to be the guy, like he compared Mick Foley to, the guy that can carry the ball for the first down, but he's not going to run it from end zone to end zone for a touchdown.
No.
You know, but he can run it a few yards, get that first down so you can reset, figure who you want to give the ball to next, and then give it to that person to score.
Exactly.
Darby, being a stunt person, being a guy who lives in the extreme, very much fits that mold.
Manuel, what you got to say real quick before we wrap this thing up? Because in case y'all wondering, it is unanimous for Maxwell Jacob Freeman MJF. And I would do a spit take if something different happens, because I understand making the title match feel more important and for MJF to earn it back in his own vainglorious nature, according to Darby Allin. But let's be real here. When this Owen Hart Foundation tournament bracket was made, everyone knew what they wanted to see at Wembley Stadium. Now it's just a matter if we're going to get it. Emmanuel, what you got to say real quick before we wrap this thing up?
Yeah, but to say to Ash, like, remember, Mick Foley was a multiple world WWE champion. So don't think that this is the only time Darby's going to have an opportunity. They just need to book him better and make him face main eventers, because but it all depends on Tony Khan, what he thinks is a proper run for a Darby Allin, because he for the first time around he didn't do a good job. It was just like upper mid Carters, like upper mid Carters, but for him,
mixed bag.
Mixed bag.
Kachka is on the verge of being world champion numerous times. Bandito, again, he had a challenge earlier this year. So Brody King looking for singles gold. Brody King, Darby Allin, long-term history. Tommaso Ciampa calls Darby Allin literally his soulmate in pro wrestling, as they had a match about passion. So I don't want to discredit Darby Allin for what he did in what he presented to those individuals and the connections that he's also built with them over the years. I don't think he did terrible. It just wasn't to the level of what you think would be for a world title. And that's okay, because, again, not everybody is meant to be an MJF, a Will Ospreay, a John Moxley, freaking Swerve Strickland. And Darby Allin knows that, and Darby Allin doesn't give a fuck about that. And I think that's why it works so well for Darby Allin to have this sort of run with the championship.
Yeah.
What do you got to say real quick, JJ?
But to your point on that, it would be different if one of those names was wrestling in upper mid Carter, because you could argue the fact that they're trying to groom them for the main event scene. Darby doesn't come off that way.
Nah, he just presents the opportunity. I do see what you mean, but also, like I said, the flaw of the business. Are we actually grooming somebody? And the jury is out. Anyway, sorry, I had a cough there. So yeah, bottom line, MJF wins because he's better than you, and you know it. And the devil will get his due, because trust me, MJF will go through his own hell and back to make sure he holds on to his hair and seizes that championship. If we've been watching MJF long enough, or you've been knowing MJF as long as I have. MJF for the win. Well, that being said, that does conclude Double or Nothing. So again, folks, what are your predictions, your opinions, your outlooks? Who goes all or nothing? Who wins Double or Nothing? Who proceeds forward in the Owen Hart Foundation tournaments? Do you already have your matches planned for the AEW Women's and the AEW Men's World Championships at Wembley Stadium? Let us know your thoughts in the comments or in the, of course, the chat as we get ready to conclude. And to AEW, have a hell of a show. I cannot fucking wait to cover this our way. It's going to be a lot of fun. Good luck to everybody. Let's go around the horn, get that out of here, and finally get some rest. And thank you all for tuning into another edition of Predicting. Emmanuel, always a pleasure. Go ahead and tell the people can finally connect with you and what you've been up to.
Yeah, you can follow me at Interactive Games and Movies. I have a new X account for the channel if you want to follow along and see what episodes is coming up next, and keep up to date to my product and videos. You can also follow me at Manny Dominguez Facebook, EDM7224, Instagram, Arlene Dominguez at Facebook, Arlene Dominguez on Instagram, and ADM73244 at the X. If you want to follow my dorky sister Arlene, who's probably not hearing me right now because she has some AirPods. So hopefully she doesn't beat me up right now.
Get the chancla, Arlene. Get the chancla.
Let's see if he actually survives the night. Just saying. Well, thank you for that, Emmanuel.
How do you know she's not listening to us on her earplugs?
That's fair. Again, Emmanuel, good luck to you in and out of this life with Arlene, and also good luck to you in the Predictions League. Keep on going forward. Appreciate you. Ash, always a pleasure. It's always an insanely fun time having you part of City Predicting.
My dirty sister, Arlene, and hopefully she's not hearing me. And then
I'm sure she hears you loud and clear now.
Well, yeah, he's telling her now.
She's not hearing about the prediction. Get the shot, Arlene.
Oh my God. Yeah, JJ, get the chocolate ready. JJ likes to encourage violence here on City Predicting, and I will allow it.
Ash likes violence.
Well, you know, there is that too. And again, Ash, you and my friend Ash, they are right now the top tier of the league, the cream of the crop. Yeah.
Yes, the board is being run by Ashleys. Let's go.
It's the rise of the
Oh, the
Ashleys. Oh no.
Ashleys.
It's a crazy baddie words. We know it. I'm not sure we're going to be feeling fine. And shout out to Charlene and Kimberly, who's also involved in the league and are doing fairly well. And hope that everyone continues to have a fun time. With that being
Yay,
said,
the
Ash,
girls are running the board.
well, girls rule the world. Anyway, that being said, we always appreciate you. Go ahead and tell where the people can connect and find you when you have time to.
You can find me on X, the app formerly known as Twitter at ShadowBadAsh, and subscribe to my YouTube channel at Batty4 Wrestling. Don't be a dickhead.
Dickhead. Simple as that. Again, stay tuned, folks. Barry Bracket Breakdown will return after the Best of the Juniors, so we will talk about the G1 Climax. We will be covering opening day, and we also do plan to cover Dominion. She might join me on that call. So, again, stay tuned. And again, good luck to your boy and last year's win, the Best of the Juniors.
But don't paint the town orange!
His Japanese jump on Kosei Fuji, or maybe Robbie Eagles will make it to the finals for the first time ever. She gets her things. Thank you, Ash.
You're going to paint the town orange.
I know you want to paint the town orange, you young punk. Again, we will see. I'm watching. I'm not going to spoil you. I'm watching because, again, I'm crazy. But I also have found my time. It's like a terrible towel, except it's freaking awesome. All right.
Big ups to Shane Hayes, who's rocking it in Pro Wrestling Noah, by the way.
The heavyweight champion, but Kent wants that title. Just saying. We'll see
and apparently Shane Hayes is taking podcast bookings, as Ash let me know. So I may have to reach out to him, see if we can get him for an interview.
Well, I mean, again, you and Walter and Nick have been putting in the work, getting the name out there, not only for the wrestlers, but also for what we want to present and represent for the wrestlers in this business that we love and passionate here so much at our SR Studios forum. So, JJ, go ahead and tell where the people can find you. Thank you once again for joining us in Predicting, and also what's ahead, what you've been up to.
Well, you can find me and the illustrious class of Chase University, the greatest university out there, on Instagram at the Renegade JJ Williams, YouTube, of course, Casa D18 Studios, X is Casa D18 Studio. No S at the end on the X. Make sure you're following the Simply Reliable Studios on the X at SR Studios 2024.
Do it now.
Earlier today, we had the great pleasure of interviewing Jack Cartwheel, the recently signed to AAA. No longer an ID prospect.
Congratulations.
Now a full-on WWE/AAA contracted wrestler. Jack gave us about an hour of his time. Nick, unfortunately, was unable to join us for that one as he had hockey, so it was myself, Walter, and Papa Gino joined us this evening.
Look at Papa Gino joining the Fun and Simple Studios. That's awesome.
Hey, what does Nick keep saying? The word for the year is collaboration.
The word of the day is collaboration.
So, you know, Papa Gino being the head of Major Push Wrestling podcast, being a part-time host of the No DQ Review, which you can find on nodq.com. I invited him to join us for the interview, and he did a really good job for, as far as I know, his first professional interview conducting. You know, a lot of us, we go through interviews, you know, being interviewed for jobs and stuff, but for my knowledge, this is the first time he helped interview somebody, and he did a very good job. Shout out to Gino.
I'm very happy to hear that. Hopefully that means he's around more for the fun and definitely for those, if that's the case. Good to know.
Possibly. I mean, you know, there's other special guests that are lined up in the rotation and everything. And speaking of special guests, our next interview will be a week from technically today if you're on the East Coast.
Yes.
And for us on the West Coast, we've got like 10 minutes till
y'all crazy. Y'all crazy out there.
In any event, it'll be Friday, May 29th. We will be interviewing the recently retired Kid Bandit.
Oh, wow. Shout out to my AEW crew. That's a long name right there. And yeah, recently retired now.
She is launching her very own company, going to be having its debut show on July 3rd called T for T Wrestling. T for T Wrestling features some of the top trans and non binary talent in professional wrestling and is centered on trans and non binary empowerment through the art of wrestling that comes straight from the website.
Hmm.
Some names signed for that very first show include Dark Sheik, Nyla Rose, Giselle Shaw, and Sunny Kiss. And Sunny Kiss actually liked and retweeted my tweet announcing that Kid Bandit was going to be on the show. So I may try to reach out to Sunny Kiss for an interview as well as we lead into that July 3rd premiere show.
Nice.
And then on Tuesday, June 2nd, we will be featuring not a part of the wrestling business. No. She is the center of attention in the wrestling business. Miss Brittany Brooks will be joining us.
Current
Tuesday,
FSW Women's
June 2nd.
Champion. Nice.
So all of that is on the forefront for us here. When it comes to the interviews, we do have a special guest that I just touched base with during the stream here who will be coming in to help us interview Kid Bandit next week. None other than Carlos Estrada will be joining us.
Oh, nice.
This is not a Wrestle Collective, Simply Reliable Studios collaboration, even though he is a member of the collective. This is just a friend joining friends for an interview. This is not being touted or promoted as any kind of collaboration. Carlos has been very good to me through the collaboration partnership and even since then. So I wanted to extend an offer to him to be able to come and join us and be a part of this, especially being somebody who's part of the LGBTQ community himself. Thought it was a great opportunity. He accepted the offer, so he will be joining us next Friday for that interview. That interview will be 3 Eastern, noon Pacific. Earlier than our normal interviews, but again, got to work with talent availability.
Yep.
So.
All right. Well, you keep on doing what you need to do to once again bring a brighter perspective to the professional wrestling business. Very proud of you and the work you've done. I appreciate you. And also, shout out to Brittany Brooks. And I'm looking forward to, again, everyone bringing their story and personality to the forefront to further themselves in this business. So I hope everyone has a great time. Thank you for all that great upcoming content.
Thank you. And you mentioned a brighter perspective. We would be remiss not to shout out. She's been in the chat. Follow the Pink Ranger of the Simply Reliable Studios, Datilla at Rangers of Wrestling on Instagram, Twitch, and YouTube. Datilla _ on X, and also follow her latest endeavor on X, Pop Culture Powerbomb. That is PC Powerbomb on X. Just recently launched a couple of weeks ago. She is very much trying to build the followers up there, so make sure you follow her there. Emmanuel, make sure you follow her. You got 2 accounts you can follow her on. That helps boost her numbers up. Everybody out there watching, the 26 of y'all, get in there, start following her. Get those numbers up for her new endeavor coming soon to a stream near you.
And of course, Tatash will start their pop culture podcast through that form as well in collaboration with Batty for Wrestling. So who knows what those two are going to talk about. They're going to get Batty and Mighty Batty maybe. Anything that's on their minds, from anime to wrestling to pop culture to Power Rangers to comics, movies, and
Pokemon, Yu-Gi-Oh!
Yeah, you name it, they're going to talk about it. And yes, the Simple Shenanigans Trivia Night will continue forward this week. Of course, last week's reigning and defending winner, I believe it was Ash, will be defending her crown this coming Saturday. But thank you for that, JJ.
Thank you. And really quick before I forget, because I see the thing down here and it's not something we promote all the time, make sure you follow us on Spotify. All of our interviews are currently up there. The Jack Cartwheel one will drop tomorrow, 4 Eastern, 1 Pacific on Spotify. So make sure you are following Saturday Shenanigans on Spotify.
Well, there you
Nice.
go. Again, we're spanning out everywhere we can to be a voice for you, professional wrestling and entertainment. Damn it. But thank you for that, JJ. And again, thank you all
Okay,
for.
I apologize. I just received an email from the anonymous Raw general manager. I have been asked to point out that on Rangers of Wrestling, she will be releasing footage from Comic Con Revolution here in the next couple of days as part of her media credentials.
All right.
So make sure you go to Rangers of Wrestling where you can find that. And I think she's also going to try to put some short clips on Pop Culture Powerbomb. So, and if you go to the Casa D18 Studios YouTube channel, you can find the entire Beverly Hills 90210 panel that I filmed. Quality. I'll admit the quality isn't the best because I wasn't able to zoom on the camera. I had to zoom in post-production, but you get the point.
Yeah,
You
I
get the
think
point.
All right. Well, that
Go
definitely
ahead.
seems more viable and more cost friendly than anything on Rodeo Drive. Thank you for that, JJ. Thank you for all of that. And thank you to my panelists and everybody that, of course, have been participating, collaborating, and engaging here at Super Labo Studios, including Dattila, who's becoming her own lyricist. And again, thank you all. If you want to engage with me, it's as simple as this. Find me if you choose at nfoster1916 on the X and on YouTube, for I am nothing more but a simple man and a lifelong fan of professional wrestling. Damn it! Again, the Cineman's brand agenda, it's very simple. It's predictions, it's watch-alongs. It comes down to that. It's predictions, analysis after the show is over altogether. So again, as you heard earlier, Papagino, who of course represents the Papagino Network, has been working with the CSL Studios. Thank you again, my brother. Stay tuned for more of me and Kim as we break it down on Predictions League breakdown, of course, where we will give you the post-show analysis, recap, and leaderboard stats for the Galaxy and the team across the leagues of AEW and the WWE. Of course, this Monday, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time live, it will be Predictions League breakdown for AEW Double or Nothing. And thank you to Andrea Dia for tuning in. Hello and appreciate you. Hope that you are having a lovely day, evening, or night. And again, stay tuned for me and Papagino and the crew, always bringing the major push to professional wrestling on Major Push Wrestling, the weekly forum live, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, unless scheduled otherwise, on Wednesday nights. You can find that exclusively at the Papagino Network. And speaking of which, subscribe, follow him today. There you see it, Papagino 0017. I'm pretty sure he's not related to James Bond. Find him doing Rocket Leagues, bringing the Major Push Pro Wrestling, and so much more, and also bringing positive mentality to his friends, including the C-Rod podcast. Appreciate you, Chris. And as others that we appreciate here as well, as we've been talking about everybody else, we cannot leave without talking about Walter Cruz, Mr. Reliable. Show him some love. Get his numbers up today. Subscribe today. Subscribe today to the Rage of Wrestling at Walter Alex Cruz. And of course, the next opportunity to come will be for WWE Clash in Italy. Same time as always, 11:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on the Thursday night of the week. So, bit more for that. And as far as me covering it, stay tuned because we might actually change it out and get a new voice for the WWE. I don't know. Mario Luigi, you have to wait and see. That being said, again, I always like to conclude with this. There are no winners, no losers, no betters. Just fans, all opinions with this passion we all share. At the end of the day, folks, support one another, respect each other, protect your mentality too, to treasure your families, and just relax and enjoy professional wrestling. And it's truly as simple as that. As JJ pointed out, I also will be back here in the hot seat moderating the weekly moderate conversation wrestling matters. That is the Saturday Shenanigans with trivia. So stay tuned to see who drives me batty, and also stay tuned to see what we are communicating and talking about. And again, we will be covering the Owen Hart Foundation tournament in full. So stay tuned for upcoming watch-along days of Superman's brand regarding more on that. And as always, just keep here for predictions, watch-alongs, and the positive reinforcement in professional wrestling, and maybe just lifelong encouragement. That's all I want to be. But again, hit the subscribe button. Know this video goes live on demand on any of the YouTube channels here, of course, for the Super Reliable Studios. And hit the subscribe button. I assure you, the content, the creativity, the passion, it will continue to persist and pursue and prevail. And it's not going to let up anytime soon. Mamma mia. With that being said, I think we talked enough, predicted enough, and plugged and promoted enough. So I'm going to leave you now in simple Kenny Omega fashion with a fine adieu. And encourage you again, get your predictions in. Your opinions matter too. You got till 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Sunday evening for AEW's Double or Nothing. So until the next time that any of us are in your feed or on your screens, for the Mega Wrestling JJ Williams, for Ash, for Datilla, for all of you in the chat, for Emmanuel Dominguez and Arlene, who will likely attack him after this goes off the air. I am the Seminole Foster, reminding you, as always, to make a positive, thank you, by the way, Morrow, for the love and support. Make a positive impact in life. Have a good night, and thank you for tuning in to another rousing edition of Simply Predicting as we go this weekend. Double or Nothing! Have a good night, folks, and we'll see you next time here at the Cement Brand and the Simply Reliable Studios. Take care.
Believe in Joe Hendry.
Son of a
His
bitch!
name and he appears. I believe in Joe Hendry.
Damn it.
Believe in
time,
getting the
every
color
time.
orange.
I'm about to say, orange is a color I can agree with. All right,
Believe
let's
in
get
Chase University.
you will never get me to say otherwise about that. Never. Good night, everybody. I'm Hand the Bun. This has been episode 172 on Simply Predicting. See you for 173.
Good night, everyone.
Bloody hell.
You know who else